In the heart of Scandinavia, in the battle-scarred grounds, where Vikings historically fought, eight teams are now fighting for glory. And the competition is fierce. And there is no room for mistakes. And against all odds, one shall rise to claim victory.
Fate weavers told of epic tales and legends, of fire and flames, of ice and stone. This week, Odin sits atop his throne in the eternal longhouse, Hugin and Munin by his side, and the pantheon gathered round to watch. The fight for Valhalla reaches the beginning of the end. Ragnarok is upon us. 16 teams entered and 8 have passed the first challenge. Who will pass to the Hall of Heroes in the shadow of Yggdrasil? The next 72 hours will unravel what the Norns have foretold. Representing APAC North and South Korea, it's Damwon Kia!
Just 1 year ago, this team formed to make their race through Challenger League, and then from Challenger League into Tier 1, from Tier 1 into the Mexico Major, into the playoffs, and now, yet again, another playoffs opportunity for this storm of a South Korean roster.
And their opponents? Also representing APAC North from South Korea, it's SANDBOX Gaming!
A team that we once knew under the organisation of Cloud9. They competed at 6 Invitational, then were unfortunately dropped. They represented their own brand in Mantis FPS before being picked up by SANDBOX Gaming, finishing second in their group behind Team 1, 50% win rate, 3 regulation wins against Vitality and DZ, but who isn't beating NA these days?
Damn.
Oh, he really had to lay it down, didn't he?
I was told that NA was dominant on one map above all. It's plain. Oddly enough, it was back in our map pool. But you know what, Fresh, you and I, we sat down and we tried to see what the fates have written. So, friends, what did the runes say?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our Viking Longhouse. There's one rule here. The runes never lie. So, Fresh, let's figure it out. SANDBOX Gaming.
SANDBOX, you got to agree with the runes. They beat Damwon Kia in stage 3. Damwon Kia's got a very limited map pool in best of 3s, and therefore the runes never lie.
I will risk the ire of the gods and say I disagree with the runes. At LAN, online doesn't matter. And on LAN, it's Damwon Kia.
Oh,
that can actually
Are
do
you
it.
disagreeing with the runes?
I have put myself in the ire of the gods. May Freya smite me if I'm wrong. Who actually takes it? That's see in game. See on the stream.
8강에서 만나는 샌드박스는 약간 같은 지역이기도 하고 그리고 대회에서 많이 만나봤고 그래서 좀 더 익숙한 감이 없지 않아 있긴 한데 그래도 마지막에 이기는 건 우리지 않을까. 저희를 만나게 될 이제 상대편 분들은 이제 저희를 결코 무시하지 못할 거라고 말하고 싶습니다.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our beautiful studio in Gävle, Sweden. It's such a source of pride and joy for us to be here, finally getting to talk about these squads, the best in the world, and we got to talk about what they've achieved and what will they be achieving through this tournament. Let's talk about our team rosters, just in case you need a refresher or a newcomer. If you are, welcome to Rainbow Six Esports. We're so happy to have you here with us. I hope all of your friends will also be joining through this weekend. Our first team is up, and let's talk about Damwon Kia and what they have in store for us in this match.
You know, this roster has been one of the most impressive up-and-coming rosters throughout APAC North since I have been in esports in Rainbow Six Siege. I casted them, luckily enough, through their relegations fight to get into Tier 1 a mere year ago. And now this team has managed to make playoffs at 2 different majors, and they haven't even been together for over a year. That is incredible stuff. You're looking at the right-hand side of your screen at the round evolution. If you're a little bit confused as to what that graph is trying to show you, against those teams, it is showing you the round differential they had against that team. So, for example, they had 4 rounds over Team Empire in their match against them, but in their second match, Team Empire got a bit of a revenge there and they went -4. So that's exactly what you're seeing when you see those round evolution graphs come up. Do look out for them because it gives a pretty good indication as to whether a team is a little bit inconsistent or has a nice little smooth ride.
And there's always that difference of how will teams do online and in their regional tournaments. So in the Korean Nationals, going into APAC North, going into potentially APAC Finals, which is what happened with Damwon Kia, and now here on LAN. And they've shattered expectations. Same goes for their opponents, SANDBOX Gaming.
They have, and they were down in the dumps, genuinely, through stage 2 after 6 Invitational. They looked a shadow of themselves, but you could forgive them for making the roster change at that point. They didn't. They stuck together, they were orgless, and they stuck together and have got this new organization, SANDBOX Gaming, as mentioned. To watch out for, in terms of players, you've got Envy Taylor and Shile, because them two as a little duo, they're not very talked about as a duo of players, but they can be lethal on their day. They went unbeaten throughout stage 3 in APAC North. They played so well, but that round evolution graph will show you just what they can be like in terms of the inconsistencies. You see in -5, -6, -3, +3, +4, +6, so it's almost equal and opposite. I said they had a 50% win rate. They either win by a large margin or they tend to lose by a large margin.
Well, that sort of consistency, at least in that way, is what a lot of teams look for. But in a best-of-3 series, things will be different. And that's something you always have to think about.
Yep.
BO1 versus BO3, even with the format we had here at the groups, that's always a variable you need to think about. But our maps, it's a best-of-3 series. We're done with best-of-1s. We have a best-of-5 grand final. So what do they look like? My friends, bring it up on the screen. Cafe Dostoevsky banned out for its ban, pick, ban, and Oregon. So that is our decider. Pick first Damwon Kia on Villa, pick SANDBOX versus their opponents on Coastline, and finally Oregon. I look to you, Keeney, and I want to ask you, Villa, Coast, and Oregon, how does this pool look like in general for this matchup?
I think this is a really interesting group of 3 maps. Villa is one of my favorite maps to watch. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that teams can do on that map. Going into Coastline, I either love to watch Coastline games or hate them. They're very aggressive. Defense has to look for picks. If it doesn't work out, they usually get slammed. So that can be a very coin flippy map, and I don't know if that's going to serve SANDBOX that well. And then of course the decider map is going to be Oregon, which last time they played in APAC North, SANDBOX slammed Damwon. So yeah, it's going to be a really interesting matchup. I hope we get to see that decider map. I hope to see if Damwon have studied SANDBOX and if they can bring it back and beat them on that map, get their revenge.
Well, thank you very much for that. Let's talk about our first map then. Villa is up first, and Damwon Kia was the one to pick it up. And I just got the confirmation. They start on the attacking side on Villa as they had the pick. SANDBOX picked defense. Jess, what are your thoughts on the squad?
You know, the whole best of 3 is hilarious because map number 1 being Villa is a hugely popular map for Damwon Kia. In fact, remember how Rin made his statement on the red stairs, triple ADS, no one could get him out of that position, and it became a staple map for them throughout all of APAC North. But funnily enough, Villa happens to be a pretty damn bad map for SANDBOX Gaming, conversely on the Coastline side as well. So they've picked really good maps for themselves, really bad maps for their opponents. I don't know, I'm seeing a map 3 fresh.
And I'm smiling, Jess, because I've managed to predict all 3 maps correct
here
in
we
this
go.
series.
Map predictions for this, eh?
Yep, I did map predictions on my own. I'm not putting them public because they go wrong when that happens. But yeah, Coastline, we've seen Damwon Kia, and I'll talk specifically about Damwon Kia having a small map pool. Coastline is a map they've tried to force through APAC North, through the group stages, but they still struggle on it, and it's literally one of SANDBOX's favourite maps. Villa, one of Damwon Kia's favourite maps. SANDBOX don't particularly like it. That's what you see in these best of 3s, where it's always interesting because you're either going to pick a map you're really good at or one that your opponent is not so good at. Here, we've had both teams pick a map that they're really good at and their opponent isn't so good at. Oregon is the decider, as Bikini said. We saw that in stage 3. And we talk about Damwon Kia being like, Yas has to turn up when Damwon Kia play. In stage 3, he actually went very, very negative against SANDBOX. So that's not a good omen on Oregon as a decider.
Ooh.
All right. Friends, are you going to stick with your predictions now, knowing the map?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who do you go for?
Damwon.
Damwon Kia.
SANDBOX.
I didn't know that.
Oh, look at that. We're going to have a really rough time in the green room now after this.
I saw it going to Oregon as a decider. I still see it going to Oregon as a decider, and SANDBOX have recent history of beating Damwon on that map.
All right, Fresh, Jess, Keeney, thank you so very much. You're all looking so beautiful today. I'm loving this. It's a beautiful stage, beautiful matches, and all. We have some beauties also that await us on the caster's desk. So, all APAC, all Korea, it's SANDBOX, it's Damwon Kia. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Milos. I mean, we had to pull it in before Des could on the playoff stage here. My name is Hap, and I am joined by Emmy. And we are starting off the 6-week major with the very first quarterfinal here between the 2 Koreans. One of them is going to the semifinals. As Amphi Taylor said before, first we cheered, but now we're enemies.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about this is no team has made it this far from that region before they're in this sort of situation here. It's going to be huge for Korea as a region that in this tournament has been amazing. Okay, Milos did a draw and put 2 of the teams against each other. It puts us in a strange situation where we go, do we want this? Either way, this is what we've got. These 2 teams know this. And fun fact, although they are 2 huge names in the region, we have not seen these 2 rosters as in anything more than a best of 1, apart from ages ago in 2020 where only 2 of the same players were on Damwon Kia.
Well, you know what? Without further ado, let's get into the game. Villa, the very first map. And according to the socials here, it will be 83% Damwon Kia who takes it home. Well, these 2 teams, they know each other through and through. And again, I'm going to mention it. SANDBOX, they said first we cheered for our Korean brothers for them to make it to the playoffs. But now it is dead serious. Whoever wins here will be carrying the entirety of APAC upon their shoulders and will be carrying the entirety of the Korean National League as well.
I'm just going to take a moment.
Gonna take a small moment?
I'm just going to take a moment because how amazing is this set?
It is
like
amazing.
The set for us, the set for the players, those videos. And that was the first time we've seen them because when we were doing rehearsals, you know, they were still making this stuff throughout the night. Absolutely, like, I'm so hyped. Like,
I'm so hyped as well.
I'm hyped. I'm here, and it's just amazing. And I'm so excited to see what happens. I was about to say lore. There's mythology. That's the clever word for lore.
Exactly.
That I'm sure Milos knows bags of. But the idea of the sets, and I could be wrong about this, is that we are on the plane beyond.
We are like the portal through, like
Yeah.
in between.
With all the smoke and all the ice. And obviously, what's the name of the snake?
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros. Around
Or chaos.
Stone, or chaos, which surrounds the world. And the players under the tree, which has a name as well.
Yggdrasil.
Thank you. They're playing to reach this plane. They're
Yeah.
playing to rise.
Exactly so. And that starts right now because the
cool.
6 big phase is on its
Cool.
way. It is cool. And the opening ceremony was just absolutely
Yes.
lovely as well. But let's get started. The bans have come through. A Jaeger that has been removed forces teams to now play with that Wamai and potentially an Aruni later on. The Mirror as well, very influential operator on a map like Villa. That really allows you to restructure these sites. Of course, the attack as well. Thatcher, pretty default. And then the Jackal to basically allow Demon Kia, I think, to roam a bit more aggressive. They do not want to be hunted down like that. So with these bans out of the way, let's go to Aviator Games first.
Yeah, that's entirely it. The Jaeger ban is obviously the big play and point here, but if you are somehow unaware, this is the 2 Korean teams, 2 teams that have had a back and forth for a long time. Now, SANDBOX, previously Mantis, previously C9, were the top dogs in Korea. They had a fantastic 2020. They were at one point unstoppable. But Damwon Kia were the team that there was a few eyes on, because there's players that have come from rosters like Scars, there's players that have sort of built into what is now a great solid team and sort of vied for the mantle. And here, to have the best of 3, SANDBOX have come back in, Damwon Kia have started to light again. Let's see who takes it.
Important to mention is that both these teams will be at the 6 Invitational as well, so great for them, especially, of course, Damwon Kia, who have never had that journey before, managed to do that within less than a year. And as they're starting their attack here on the study side, just quickly drones are coming through as Rin actually is aiming or eyeing to go up to the 90 area.
Now dropping the cam and seeing if they can get the approach here onto Study. They want to get a bit of clarity here. They want to see if they can force a bit of space again. These 2 teams are going to be very familiar with each other. They've played each other pretty much everywhere and anywhere. I think the record is currently in SANDBOX's favor in terms of engagement, 6-4 to them, but it's obviously down to whoever can bring it today. Talking of Rin, hadn't had the best start into the tournament, and then when it mattered most on the 3rd day, became the MVP. They stepped up. And that is so necessary and vital for the showdown, because when they do, the entry is off the charts. And that is a game that you have to bring some pressure to against SANDBOX.
Rin, of course, also their MVP during the Mexico Major. Had a bit of a quieter group stage here as Yas retook his throne, really, but as you mentioned, when it mattered, he will be able to stand up there, and it's going to be Yas with the very first kill here off the playoffs.
A cook grenade from underneath is the perfect parcel. No, doesn't quite get the connection it looked like it might make, but here Shayal is going to hold off on the main stairs with Nova, also playing a bit of a dangerous dance game. Rin takes the fight as Yas tries to push the other side. Nova is forced back, does not drop, which is the most important part, and has just thrown a canister and blown it to give himself a second of space. There is the drop from the opposite side now as Woogieman goes down. In the meantime, they're going to see if they can restructure some of the hold. Hopper was able to lock off a piece, but look at this. Rin charges up the main stairs, sees if they can get a bit of control over 90, and now with just under a minute left, they've got to see if they can formulate some of the pressure with the buck underneath.
Trying to find some more information. One of those cameras had been taken care of, but there could always be more. As Ren is right on the edge right here, starting to push it, but it's the ankle hole from Nova that will be able to pick up the kill. It is going to be SANDBOX now with a man advantage here with about 35 seconds left. Grenades are still being tossed in from below as Yas and Katsang are both on literally one shot HP here. They need to find an entry somewhere, and the question is where, as Coded just trying to find these long angles. It seems like they're going for, that is going to be the bar entrance.
Now, they can't quite formulate the angle, but as you said, 15 seconds, so it's going to have to be a blind charge through potentially a bit of a smoke. Yes, he's going to see if he can put the pressure on, but Nova locks the door and makes sure nobody gets close. No! Dropped in the trade, and behind the bar, they're going to see if they can get a quick stick. They have no choice! They've left it behind. Yas is going for a bit of a cover. C4 locks off Coated, and SANDBOX open up with the first round.
They open it up here on the defense, and even though they lost the entry, they still managed to bring it back there. The ankle hole's really coming in clutch there, taking care of Rin before more damage could be done. And as a result, of course, as well, one of the members managed to dig himself right behind the bar. However, the diffuser was dropped earlier on, forgotten to be picked up, and Well, that leaves it back on the ground as Yes here getting that entry. Here's a pre-fire, just fires right back. It's a miracle, by the way. Nova survived this. Yes. It was being pinched from 2 different sides. I think it's due to the fact that Rin had the concussion now. They were literally about to push the main stairs as that drop onto that defuser eventually has swung around.
That was a very clean take. There's the C4 from Taylor, who, to be fair, was downstairs for a long time. Not uncontested as well. There was a lot of damage that had been done between them and the Buck. They'd found each other. Yep. Neither had got the solid kill, and that's because of the pressure that SANDBOX was trying to exert on the stairs. We saw them at the bottom of them. We saw Nova swing into a 2, maybe 3-person push. You might not know that, but he had the call that definitely one was an art. And to leave what is often a mantle and a sturdy thing and go, I know how they're going to want to take this, so I'm going to take it my way. Survived, just...
I honestly, I still don't know. He was lucky that Rin had the concussion out. That's a classic case of siege timing right there. They were literally about to push up the main stairs, waiting for the concussion to pop, but at the moment the concussion gets shot, that is when the swing came through. SANDBOX won the first round. That means they can no longer go to Aviator Games up until round number 4, and the statuary will be picked up next. Trophy statuary, that is. Nova ready with a Nitro cell, however. Knows that they could be putting up some pressure from the windows as he's playing inside of Astro. Diamond Gaming need to try and figure out a way to get in, and that's going to be the Nitro. Doesn't land quite through the window, though. Not quite sure where it landed. Right in front, probably. And that means that Yas is allowed to keep on playing there.
Yeah, that looked straight. I thought that was going clean out the window. I guess
I thought so too.
One of the arcs changes there, but Nova couldn't quite get the lift he wanted, and that saves Yas's life. An important life to save. Yas, who has been a huge player and obviously found himself the 4th top in KD across the entirety of the tournament so far. You're looking at what has been a solid lead-in, and his consistency is that big part of it. It's not that he's had a few huge games and then sort of backed off, it's that he keeps driving. Look at this, little top-down picture-in-picture. Oh yeah, that's very nice to see, as it gives us the breakaway of what they're trying to do onto that wall, the connection, which is an important part of the play. Has had a little bit of burn, but still Taylor underneath. That's a problem they're gonna have to deal with.
Now that default, the camera, the Black Eye has been taken care of, but if they continue to try and go for the Maverick trick here, there is a pre-placed Nitro that will start to blow up. And as soon as that pops, actually way too early there, I thought for sure they were going to try and get the Maverick with that. And that means we continue 5-on-5. A second Nitro used without avail.
Kia picking up sticks and heading over to study to see if they can get a very quick flat take. They've realized there is no entrance. They have the choice. Do they try and go for the Valkyrie underneath? Do they try and throw their way through the wall? They're not confident. And they're going to see if they can try and actually take the fight else. But Shile, on the roam on the Wamai, is going to see if he can swing around and maybe get some revenge here as Rin gets the first and then gets dropped. There it is. But quickly the bodies are coming over either side. Katsang on one and someone else pushing the study door. It sprays, it's aggression, and it's a trade out. Coated gets one more, but 50 seconds. They still have to have the breakaway towards a split site. They're still going to get over the top of red, and that is going to be made tricky by Taylor creeping his way up, and Nova.
Yeah, taking a lot of damage there from the main stairs, but Nova managed to pick up the first one. A beautiful shot onto the 90 pillar there. Coated now deciding that he needs to move up. 30 seconds. Nova digs himself in deep right here onto the pillar. This actually allows him to come in big at the very last couple of seconds as Coated is about to go for the plant. The cover will be there if Nova manages to sneak past. He knows about the player. He gets the kill as well. Now he needs to hurry up. It's Taylor to try and stall it for as much as he can, as he does put up quite a lot of damage to the Woogieman there, who now tries to come in from concrete.
10 seconds, but they get that extra 45. A very important post-plant, but the worry is that isolated player in the middle. SANDBOX has to time this to perfection, and the cover is the big ask. What side are they going to go for the angle from? Taylor hits an air jab and gets absolutely torn apart by the bullets, and now Nova has hit a couple of laser beams so far. 2 more to go for it. Plays and sprays, but DK lock off the revenge round.
Good attempt there if Nova didn't dig in that deep into the 90 pillar, but actually decided to use it to hold the entry into the side. It could have been a completely different round. He was going to be able to pick up these gunfights. Instead, of course, the air jet there as well. Very important kill from Rin. After that, was being hunted down as well. And a good response from that one, actually, to try and hunt that one roamer who took down Rin, dug in deep into the vault, and well, this is what, of course, the Nitro was eventually meant for. They weren't quite able to get the hit.
a fast start, and aggression and knowledge, and that's obviously always going to be my favorite takeaway of these two teams is when they know each other so well, what we get is the highest pressure possible environment. Okay, we're fighting for ascension on the plains that we have here in Sweden, but at the same time, it's having to double down your game. You can't run the stuff because they know it, not just from APAC North, but from Korea Open as well, where this time, neither of these teams actually made it into the final. How strong is Korea right now?
Yeah, that is the big question. They said it before as well. Well, the two teams that didn't go to the major, they were number 1 and 2. So Korean Open is the best tournament in the world.
I mean, maybe. I guess we'll have to see if this is the start of the rise of a new huge Korean Overlord scene inside Siege. Static is going to see if he can get something cheeky out the door. He's opening up the prep and kind of putting a bit of caution into the approach. And I do like that that's how SANDBOX are playing into this. They're not really letting Damwon Kia get comfortable. They're forcing challenges and questions quite early on. They're happy to lean in and swing into the fight. And if you're sort of looking at how it's gone throughout SANDBOX previously, it's down to MB Taylor and Shile really stepping up. And they haven't been as consistent this tournament.
That's it. They've always been that duo on the side of SANDBOX, right? They've always been the ones that really pop up, basically like Speakeasy and Hysterics were for Invictus, that is. And there's many duos across that. And in any given team, you can name 2 of those players who always frag out together if everything goes well. Nonetheless, it is currently 1-1. The question here is, will the players become more defense-sided or stay attack-sided like the rest of the major seems to have been? So far, it's 50-50. That was a...
I think it's a picture-in-picture.
Yeah, it's a picture-in-picture.
Yeah, the cool stereo version. They have really built a bunker with the salvation stations on the back corner. The grenade doesn't entirely connect, but they have that healing. They have the ability to pick themselves back up. They are playing a dangerous game of burning utilities. We have seen those very same tools be part of the best clutch I have maybe ever seen inside this game, in a game in the groups earlier on. So it becomes this battle, this back and forth of creatively putting yourself little pockets of health and reinforcing what are dangerous and frequent grenade traps.
Now SANDBOX going to, well, receive some of the aggression here. Rin with the jump in, spots out a player right behind the deer, but got taken out by Woogieman actually instead of by Rin. Rin just completely skipped past that. Doesn't matter in the end though. In the end, as the diffuser, however, does get dropped there, it's going to be Big Shah in the meantime, rotating back up as well. Gets a little bit of damage done onto Rin. Decides to swap back on him as well. 4-on-4, minute on the clock. The diffuser has been dropped, needs to be regained. And they still think there might be a player potentially on the roam here.
God, that drop is such an awkward one as well. It's just a little bit out of the beaten path for either entrance. So Rin's going to see if they can make some work done on the route round. Gets a bit of revenge for this spray through the top, and there's almost a drop on a body. Finds a new angle. Do they not know? Are they expecting the swing? Well, they definitely suffer from it. Woogieman in the meantime gets the pick up, and the slip away happens past Katsang. Hello, says Nova, and goodbye to Yas as their drop, but still the body above is pinged out. The explosions cover the movement. A clever bout of play, but look, another trap is set. They're trying to get a catch, and at one point Harper's going to have to slip his way back towards the site from Art to see if he can put some pressure on the backside of Rin. Nova, lying down on the close, is going to get the fight. They don't know! They're back to back! How did that slip away from each other? Still unaware, Harper is going to swing around the corner, and Rin locks it off.
Imagine if you would have just seen it right there. That would have been Rin. A double kill ended the round there for him. And they were like back to each other. They had no clue. It's one of those awkward moments where both of each other, you miss each other when you're walking past each other, for example, in the city.
2 ships passing in the night.
Yeah, exactly.
Back to back, and they've got guns. It's like, yeah, it's the horror movie where you accidentally bump backs with the monster, and then you think it's your friend, and you turn around like, oh, and then it's, oh.
then it seems to be the monster indeed. The monster Rin, who picked up the very final 2 kills, of course, allowing them here to take the lead here. On Villa, 2 attacking rounds in a row now. That means that SANDBOX is allowed to go back towards Aviator Games, and indeed will do so as well. But if you remember correctly, it was due to the fact that the diffuser was dropped in the very first engagement. Nova with that shotgun, who managed to escape earlier as well from death when moving down the stairs. And the question there is, if that would have gone the other way, would have been Damwon Kia right now. That was 3-0 up. I think so. If Nova would have dropped there, due to Rin having the concussion out, that would have been a different round. That would have been a 3-0 for DK now.
Going to take a very quick moment here. Just a very quick moment to shout out our amazing observing team.
Yes.
Medics, Easy, and Mossy. They've all got different roles in and amongst it, but things like that little picture was the combination of the three of them working, and that gave us an amazing moment. We are so lucky to have such a talented troop leading the visuals in the game. It just brings so much more hype. Oh, I love Mages. 2-1. Damwon Kia 2-1. Now, they've been able to pull themselves ahead. They've been able to put a bit of pressure down onto SANDBOX, but it's not as if it's been easy. The fights have been consistent.
Yeah.
SANDBOX are leaning in, and we've always got to remember, this is Damwon Kia's map. Coast, it's a bit up in the air. Let's put it out on the desk. They both play it quite a lot, but the lock in there is the grenade on the first. MB Taylor doesn't see, well, several guns. There was the chassis of the site blocking Rin on the upside down rappel, but we also saw the pressure coming from the bedroom at the same time.
Yeah, didn't really want to put his back towards it, so tried to slowly back out whilst holding the angles, but as a result, wasn't able to see Rin for the upside down rappel to come in with that kill. 2-1 and 5-3 currently in this side. DK have a big advantage here. And that is going to be an instant replay. All the games are being recorded from their individual perspectives, so we do no longer miss any kill at any given moment. Those are also being called in. Great team. You said it before. Everything is being recorded now.
And obviously all the names of everybody from the production stuff that makes
that as well.
That's a lot of names, and
we'll be going on the entire...
I would feel bad if I left out a few.
That as well. Ren, in the meantime, though, looking to find yet another entry, whereas the rest of DK is looking to open up onto the strategy table. Shield does get removed, however, and two SANDBOX members are currently in the same room, whereas Shao tries to rotate out towards the vault, provided a bit of an extra angle they can hopefully try and hold back DK with for just a little bit of time. That's exactly what he does. Gets that first kill onto Katsang. Spots out the feet of Rin as well, but they're very well aware now of his current position as Yas sneaks through. They're going to be able to pick up Static from, I believe that was below.
Oh, there's another spray through. Yas with the double kill just leaves Nova, but he's got someone holding this push on the far side. And with the stun, couldn't quite get the connection. Damwon Kia, their third round in a row. And it looked the strongest so far. A very good take on the other side of the map. They knew exactly how to close down on the SANDBOX players. That game that SANDBOX are playing of being a bit loose, a bit wild, a bit out there on the roam and reactive, well, it's starting to be punished. And it reaches the point of, okay, is this Damwon Kia warming up? Is this how it should have been from round one? Or does SANDBOX have to try and change some things up here because they've been worked out? They have to come up with a new way to try to strike fear into the team that's made everybody panic.
Well, that's it, right? SANDBOX is just being completely picked apart here. All the angles are being watched. They're just waiting patiently, and SANDBOX keeps walking into them, into those lines of sight. As a result, they just pick up these kills every single round, especially that double entry at the start here. Really helps them, of course, to kick off that round into their favor. Suddenly, you have the opportunity to continue trading with two extra men. Well, that normally does go your way. It's very rarely we see those kind of clutches come through. Of course, we have seen quite a bit of them on this map, especially during the Space Station Gaming versus Empire group stage game. You mentioned it before already, but honestly, that game, those two clutches...
I think about that when I fall asleep.
Those two clutches, though, that could have been the difference maker between who made it between Empire and Space Station Gaming in the end, because it did come quite close. Either way, 3, 2, 1. Round number 5 is on its way. SANDBOX, they really want to make sure that they pick up at least another round to create a bit of a buffer for themselves. They will be going over to the attack very shortly. And, well, so far the tournament has been kind to the attackers, more so than the defenders.
Yes.
DK will also notice. 5-1 scorelines have not been too uncommon so far throughout the tournament. As Yas on a very tight angle here. Doesn't know that he could just wallbang Static here as he does make some noise. But who knows, he might just try and peek in right after it. Or maybe yellow ping will come in as well.
Obviously, with the way the tournament was put together, this is also the first time we've seen regional play, not inter-regional play. Rip. Envy Taylor gets dropped, goes for the second ring, can't quite get the connection. Pre-fires every single angle and almost catches the head of Shayal, but there's the revenge. Now he's looking towards the back of Art to see if somebody tries to get revenge on the revenge. It's a great take on the close window there. The spray, the pre-fire, and the knowledge. And now you see Damwon Kia working out how they can work from the deficit. They've not just lost the trade, but then won beyond that.
They know one could still be in the library and living room area, but nonetheless, they need to continue to clear out the sites. Grenades are being tossed in as Static strikes at the right moment. That grenade will now drop and take out Nova, actually still bringing it to a 2-on-3 situation. The diffuser in the meantime has been recovered. Woogie Man and Katsing are the two left on DK that need to make sure that they reach their 4th round here. They're up against 3 SANDBOX players. Now, it's not uncommon. We've seen it done before, and especially if they lock off the very first strike with the bit of verticality that is still going on, they could have the opportunity to fight this 2-on-1 on the actual side. Grenade comes in close. Corners, though, could have actually bounced back and gone for the double TK, but that luckily did not happen. As DK continued to try and find a strike, the question is, how long will Static stay below?
And that's it, because he's not playing with a C4 in pocket, but what he's playing is the hope that they charge in somewhere and he can just get behind them. He causes problems, and he's hoping the separation forces a 1 versus 1. He can potentially take a bit of a gamble, a bit of a fight, and get an angle on somebody who's much more laser-focused on what needs to be done on the site itself. The body on the top of red stops that study entrance, so Katsang has to add a little bit of width, and it's going to battle down the long corridor that beats around the entire heart of this site. Drops the cam, gives the game away. 30 seconds, though. The push has to come sooner rather than later, and still, without that study clean entrance, with the fight that's going to happen on Vault and on the door, there is just no real route through unless it is via a hail of fire. It's just going to have to be a matter of a quick count, and look at SANDBOX giving nothing away. Playing the reverse on the shield. They are letting Damwon Kia sit and marinate, but the grenade gets one. Katsang drives his way deeper. That's the body on red gone. That's the attempt on the plan and the strategy. That's one more take for SANDBOX. They're not quite connecting with Katsang, and he's able to just... Well, he gets the plant stat.
He gets the plant. I was thinking, like, it's taking quite a long time here before they're actually going to be going for it. In the end, they still managed to pick up the kill right after the diffuser went down. But if that was any second later, that gun would have been online again, and he would have been able to try and go for the challenge. And who knows who might have ended. SANDBOX, they started round off great. Well, not that great. We were ring getting the very first, but after that, they managed to strike back from using these impacts to create these long angles. And of course, a pre-fire from Shah as well. He himself, those double kill route right there, really crucial to that round. And just in time, of course, with that grenade as well. Static just too late to save his teammate, but nonetheless, it was a trade coming in right away.
Great nade there, great pickup. I guess we'll see what happens with the scrappy ending. They were just, the pings were there like constantly. I think they were hoping he would step up, but they had the pre-fire as well. One of the things to also take into consideration with this is, out of all of the teams that qualified, these two teams had a slightly different journey. Damwon Kia obviously came in really big and loud on their first day in groups. The second day got a little bit shaky, and they were the last team to be confirmed. And then they confirmed themselves in first place. Granted, they needed 1 point from their final game, but still, it's a point. You have to at least get the 6 rounds. It wasn't certified. And they could have not been here. It could have been an entirely different show with Empire being the other team that listed on, but then they find their way to the top. SANDBOX were confirmed a little bit earlier, but out of all of the teams, statistically, their players have played the weakest this tournament, in that every other team on the overall rating has at least 2, and in a lot of cases, 3 players rated above the best rated player from SANDBOX this tournament, Envy Taylor.
Yeah, that makes you worry just a little bit. But what's even more impressive is the feat that Damwon Kia struggled when they returned from Mexico. Their stage 3 was pretty weak compared to their stage 2. They were forced to go through the playoffs. They wanted to qualify and successfully did so, but also just barely, really, being knocked down to the lower bracket from the very get-go. They still managed to make it happen from there on, but they're here now. First seed in their groups and currently around ahead on SANDBOX. They want to be the Korean team that carries their hopes and dreams for the major and for the region.
I love seeing that over the top. The shape up is physically put before you. everyone at home, so you really get a taste of just how this all comes together. The territory that they're trying to set up that cross angles on is that bathroom, and then obviously the master bedroom itself. Look at this. As sneaky as the G in Lasagna, Yas is going to find their way up the back stairs, but the proximity gives the game away. Can he find a little bit out of what is otherwise put before him? Envy Taylor is the slow creep behind. He wants a bite out of that player, and he's going to make sure he takes it slowly. But look at Rin watching for the roam. They are prepped for this, and that buys them a fight elsewhere. A minute 30 though, and they've got to start trying their collapse here. DK with another Hail Mary grenade. Oh, gets him! Gets the player, but that will be a pickup. Surely they're close enough. The second grenade goes, and the drone might have just been blocked there by the chassis on the view.
Not quite sure, but either way, that's going to be Envy Taylor that gets swung on. Not quite sure if that was a drone that had the information. I believe it was. Nova, in the meantime, though, has picked up Shal, and that means that it is a 4-on-5 situation. A lot of drones have been lost, however. There's only 3, 5 maybe still available to them for the last minute right now, but they need to get them in these positions and try and figure out where the SANDBOX players are currently. Because DK, well, they just really have Solarium. There's no opening into the wall. They will have to go through these choke points.
Shael now, he's obviously picked up and he's going to look for a fight as Nova tries to lock off on that little hop-in window to make sure they don't have a back to the side. Shael clears one, finds a nook with the knife and takes the second fight. Shael gets the third! Up the back stairs, shines in astronomy, and now it is just coated left. 30 seconds, can they pull anything together? They're buffed, they're rebuffed, they're pushed back away from their main entrance onto Trophy. So finds a route around and a little bit of health, but it won't save you from that.
The headshot from Static to come in. What a triple kill that was as well to come through. Just that knife to stay sneaky. Gets the second right after with the gunfight. And then slowly creeping up to the third, who seemed to have no idea where the actual push was coming from at that moment in time. Surely a bit of panic just ran through the comms there, and somehow SANDBOX are able to bring it to 8-3 to 3. As the grenade's being pulsed out here, we are going to see a bit of a replay from that. Just a second. Yes, of course, with the very first, but Shal, that 20 HP, he was the man that was down before as well. Snipe gets the first and the third.
You don't often see a knife.
You don't often see it.
In general Siege, you could probably count the amount of times you've seen a knife kill on the major stages.
I think we've seen 2 so far.
Yeah, on a hand
as well.
I was gonna say, they're rare. They're a treat, and this is just a very quick pause here before the turn of the half. Look at that tree. I love it. I like, because obviously we came into this, we hadn't seen the videos.
Yeah, we haven't.
So all week, we've sort of been doing the groups and we'd walk past and there was just like parts of a tree.
Yeah.
Or like parts of an iceberg outside, and we're like, what is going on? At one point there was a hockey goal, but I think that was, now I know that was just being removed.
Yeah, I was gonna say as well, like we saw these parts being moved one by one, parts of the tree, just some branches, and I was like, are we gonna play hockey?
Yeah, maybe that was just for Parker.
Maybe this
like it's part of his rider is like, as a Canadian, there has to be an ice hockey goal that goes everywhere I go. So you can, you know,
potentially
keep a slap shot on the go. But it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I love the Viking village content.
I love that as well. Just the intro teams as well. They're so cool, the videos. Amazing.
Well done.
Love everything about it.
Well done. But okay, back to the game. Well, not in the technical but the conversation about the game.
Yes.
It's a 3-3. SANDBOX have been able to pull themselves even, which is actually pretty good right now. Damwon Kia love Villa. They're a really good Villa team. SANDBOX do not. SANDBOX are not a big proponent of the map itself. They aren't truly sort of throwing themselves into it. They've banned it about 5 times in recent play over the 3 months, not including the group stages where they didn't play it. But they played it once, and they lost it in APAC North. So it's not a Villa map for them. And I think the fact that not only they've been able to pull an even half against Damwon Kia on the attack side, which, as you said, has been huge statistically for every team throughout this tournament, is the fact that they were able to pull back from Damwon Kia building momentum. It did not shake them.
Yeah, it definitely didn't. And, you know, that last round, it seemed like DK had an opportunity to start pushing through. You know, there was the opportunity. They just needed to find that extra entry. But at that moment, the man from the back came in with a knife and a double kill right after. So that triple really just shaking up that round there, basically confirming it for SANDBOX. And that leaves us at that even half. And we're just waiting now until we see the swap. It might actually be good for DK here that we are currently in that technical pause. This gives him the opportunity to talk between themselves, of course not with their coach. That is only allowed before, after and during the tactical pause or timeout. So they have to be quiet for now.
So in about a minute we'll go back in. So what I'll do is, if you missed it at the very beginning, the maps that are following, this is DK's pick, and then Coastline is SANDBOX Gaming's. And then if we get there, the decider is Clubhouse. Now, Coast as a map does lean into SANDBOX's favor, but both teams play it. And both teams have had mixed successes during the groups. Obviously, Damwon went up against Empire on it and lost, but also went up against Furia. Oh, Oregon's the decider, sorry. Went up against Furia on it and won. And at the same time, SANDBOX, well, they played it 3 times, lost it twice, both against Team 1, and then won it against Dark Zero.
Yeah, so I think this is basically, we've had it before with Dark Zero and Vitality. Vitality played a map, I believe, I'm not quite sure which one it was anymore, but they've lost it twice, and the 2 times they've lost it was against BDS. And then it's like, it looks like it could be a bad map for them, but in the meantime, BDS is also the superior team inside of Europe. They just didn't lose anything. So it's like, how much does it tell about how bad a map of someone is when you lose it against the best team twice? Either way, Team 1, current reigning champions. You lost to it twice against them. Well, how much does that weigh in? How bad is that map actually?
So they're just getting everything finalized here. And I believe the prediction at the beginning of this was 80 to 20 of people believing Damwon would be able to put the pressure on here.
Yeah, something like that.
It's about that.
I think it was 83-17, something like that.
Throwing my mind back. Which, to be fair, I understand for Villa, and I understand with recent performances, and that's why I'm sort of citing that an even half here on their defense opening for SANDBOX is great.
It's very good for SANDBOX. Especially if you listened to the desk earlier on, you know, they didn't really give them that much of a, well, they gave them a chance, but they were like, DK should have this in the bag,
They
right?
should.
They should have this game in the bag.
Rhythmically, with how they've played this map before, and the momentum that they've built, they should.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is still technically a defender-heavy map, and I would say that in 2 teams that know each other, as we go back in, apologies for that. Oh, Glass.
Well, we're getting back into a banger here. All right.
Okay. I'll finish my point. The 2 teams that know each other well, you're more likely to get standard average map statistics because they will be way less surprised.
Yeah, for sure. They know each other through and through. They know each other's strategies. They probably scrimmed against each other every now and then as well. So there's little hidden between these 2. And you're like, well, do they only play Apex North? No, they also play beautiful graphics, by the way.
Coaches watching that are going to be like,
oh yes,
rubbing their hands together.
I want this
like
all the time.
Give me all of the angles.
But to continue, they also play each other in the Korean Nationals, the Korean Open that is called, every single time. So it's not just once they meet each stage at 3 times a year. No, there's also, I believe it's 3 or 4 Korean Opens, which are double round robins. So, and another 6 to 8 games in there.
I am super curious about this Glass. MV Taylor, 6 picking to the Glass. He's gone 0 to 5. He has not had a good game. But luckily, some of the players who weren't quite able to step up during the groups have been, especially Nova, who was quite quiet throughout it. He's got 4 plants, but it's one of the lowest out of any of the teams, especially in the actual playoffs itself. So why not go to the Glass?
I'm trying to figure out why. Like, it could be a bit of a surprise, right? They don't know there's a Glass. Maybe a smoke canister pops out, so, you know, someone just stays active within it. Don't really know what's going on. You see it right now happening as they're going very aggressive here into the side. Harper gets the first, but the plant's going down in the meantime as they do find a response.
Covering and blowing through it. NV Taylor gets his first, and that gun goes bang. Boogeyman is down in this fight. In this moment, they're going to see if they can try and pull themselves back ground. Katsang and Coded. The two players get Boogeyman up and they find their way into Vault. It's behind the door. They get a little bit of a crossfire, but Nova locks it off. That is 2. This is a quick round. And I said Nova had showed up better this game. And then he goes and does that.
Honestly, I was just looking at it. I'm like, how is this glass going to work out, first of all? And what I was thinking, what I was trying to explain as well right before the push is maybe, right, they don't give away that information. They throw that smoke, give a false sense of security because, you know, we all know smokes are no walls, but if they can't see you, you cannot see them. Unless there's a glass or a warden on the other side. That is when you can actually see them there. Nova gets that plant through. The cover of MV Taylor, of course, that's that false sense of security. See that? There's the smoke. He's like, well, they're not watching that angle. That means I can just run right around the corner and get that kill whilst the man from landing is covering the study door. And that didn't happen. That really pushed through that eventual round. Just that glass. Surprise pick. That worked out in the end. In the meantime, though, we are going towards Trophy and Statuary. It's going to be another defensive round here for DK. SANDBOX have retaken the lead, which they've lost ever since round 1. Now, setup looks pretty standard from now on. We do have the Iruni to come in, no Amai, meaning that grenades could be quite effective. Yet again, the glass being picked. Surely, we're not going to be seeing yet another quick push to come through. DK should be ready for that. They should now know as well that if a smoke canister is being used, that you should not just run right through it.
So, heading over to the split site and seeing if they can offer themselves a bit of an extension here. They're not going to try and double down, but MV Taylor surely is. The glass is back for revenge, for a rush. I mean, if it works again, I would be surprised, but we've been surprised by many things this tournament. Damwon Kia. They find themselves, for the second time this game, on the back foot, and the second time after the first round. But they then built themselves up. They got a bit of an awakening, and they started to get a bit of strength and tied 3 rounds in a row. That's all it would take so far to secure themselves OT at least, and well, the game is still all the way. Is this another thing prepped here, another rush?
I don't know, they're all setting up on all these different angles. Static is about to toss in a grenade. That will land in the middle of the site as Nova is the first one to get popped up. I'm not quite sure if he had the supernova, but he's being tagged right now from 2 different sides. Coated, trying to run out, will successfully do so now as it is going to be a player from below that does take down Static, and MV Taylor falls as well. They tried to go quick here, but only Harper and Shala left, and well, they need to find 5 DK players.
Well, I said if they did it, it probably wouldn't work, and well, it hasn't worked. A very quick attempt, and it was calculated. Don't get me wrong. They calculated the risk. They worked out where they wanted to have the engagement, but Damwon Kia was sharp to it. They were tuned into it. Those back-to-back rushes, it becomes the test of will they, won't they, but wow. Harper with a fantastic take there, and he's still just got to find 4 more. And it becomes this game, though. They're aware of the potential of the rush, and that audio cue of rush becomes so much cleaner, and that's the main thing.
That's the main thing indeed. Ren cleans it up. This time the rush did not work out, so SANDBOX now have to make a decision. Do we try it on a new site, or do we just completely bin it for now? Maybe bring it back during the OT. But that's the thing, right? A rush works once, not twice in a row, but it could work twice and a half. Rogue have definitely shown that in some of their group stage games. Vitality have as well. So if SANDBOX are going to be bringing this back later on in this matchup, we might see more success again. Coated with this very important first kill. If that would have gone the other way around, then surely it could have been, again, SANDBOX taking over, but DK was ready for it this time around. They knew exactly where they were going to be entering from and just cleaned them up one by one by one. If it wasn't for Harper to just get that one beautiful one-tap, making sure it was not going to be a flawless round for DK.
Back to AVG we go, and back to a site that obviously was the end of a rush. Hey, that's a different lineup from SANDBOX. Yeah, they're not going to go for another glass smoke rush. They're going to make sure that they have a little bit more security over the game itself. They still have the Thinker, they still have the Ash and the possibility of destruction, but this is a lineup that speaks to the control that they want to put across it. And to be fair, when we've seen them throughout APAC North and when we've seen them throughout this tournament, their attacks have been where they're more comfortable. They've been able to sort of drive themselves into this game and into this fight without so much of a worry, without so much of a fear in terms of what their opponents are putting before them.
DK going to be trying to rerun their first side, Aviator Games. It was prone to a rush before on the side of SANDBOX. They were able to, well, clean it up really with a quick plant and of course the support of the glass, which gave a false sense of security to them. But that's not going to be working out anymore. Slow is what they're currently trying to have to do right here. Try and get these picks one by one as the window does get punched open by the Iruni there. And he drops to its safety. This Rin opens up the hatch as well to allow a quick way out if the pressure becomes too hot.
Holding. And a little bit of caution in what has been a very quick 2 rounds. And there was a spray towards Coded and Static. They have an awareness on him and they're trying to find a little bit more of the aggression towards them. Drop down on the corner of the stairs and pops a smoke early to stem the potential approach. A few frags, a few grenades, and a little bit more of a clearance with Yas stacked up on the top of the stairs to offer any protection against Study, or at least an awareness towards they're coming, let's fight. But there it is. A great take by Static. Yet again, they're able to drop that body, an important clutch player on that corner of this hold. Lose 2 more smoke canisters. Yas steps up, but blinded by the flash. They cannot truly stick around too much. Katang pops a bullet, but retreats.
Surely not, they're going to be trying to take that top floor now as Woogerman finds a response. 90 seconds left on the clock, and SANDBOX, they really want to be taking control of these main stairs as Envy Taylor does take care of Boogeyman. That's a man now removed from the actual bomb site. And with that brown stairs under control, they just need to get rid of the Syria laser gates. That gives them an opportunity to head into the study yet once again. As Shao, knowing that one could be swinging close, trying to return some of that fire. Has the LMG available to him, of course. Does not need to reload. As the pressure is starting to rise here on DK, it's Yas that is completely concussed, trying to find a bit of an elevated angle to surprise whoever comes around the corner first. The SANDBOX, they know that they have some time left. Still 50 seconds as they're all starting to set up. One member currently off the side, but the rest on the side of SANDBOX, all on that brown stairs area.
Another moment. Another pause and another bout of caution as they're going to see if they can set themselves up for potentially something under that final Thinker rush. Nova can apply the pressure here, and with Envy Taylor on the lock, it's just a matter of making sure they connect the dots. The swing comes in, and they're curious about dabbling with danger, but it's Red on the backside that gets the first fight and dropped by Envy Taylor. A very important kill, and it's second for the round, but Yas on the back of the bar is only serving up pain. 15 seconds, and they got to see if they can make the connection here over the top. Static gets one more, and Yas, well, the bar is closed, and we go back and forth to a 5-4.
5-4 indeed on its way, and SANDBOX was the team back when they were in the Cloud9. The first team that really brought Thinker to APAC together with, I believe, back then it was Xavier. Those two teams would really use it as what we called the bunker buster. You just use it to move quickly through any barbed wires, but also to make sure that these gunfights would go your way, especially with these LMGs that they have on the team. Inside the Shah, of course. See that fire in just a single laser beam here is it's just quite hard to lose a gunfight like that when you literally have no recoil.
It's so many, like, it's either tight moments or punished mistakes. You can really see that difference of what they know about each other and then what is new to this showdown, what is new to this play and this bring into the fight. A tack pause. I was going to say, at a moment I wondered if we were going into the round or not, but we have this, the tactical timeout for them to have a conversation. Down one Kia want to have it before they find themselves on map point. It's a very important map. It's their map. And it's one of their best maps. And if it starts slipping away, if it hits that border of OT, not only is that dangerous, you've got 2 rounds to try and pull it back, but it's that mental game of, is this going wrong?
That's a big thing, right? And then the desk said it before, the public seems to think so as well. This first map should be DK's. Without a doubt, according to many. Currently though, SANDBOX putting up quite a good fight, 4-5. And they have the opportunity now to lock in their match points. Their attacks have been varied, of course. The rush rounds in the very first 2, winning 1, losing 1 as well. But now in a bit more, bit by bit more methodical They also seem to be able to find the angles on DK without them really being able to put up a strike on the side of SANDBOX. So we're heading towards the kitchen, towards the dining room. Up to that bottom floor we go. Nitro cells often play an important role here, and very often you do see a pulse that's currently being used. Now, not the case here, no pulse, but we do see a Valkyrie coming out. So possibly DK is going to be using some of these Valcams to guide Nitros to that top floor instead. As you really want to make sure that you pick them up when you do not have to challenge them to a head-to-head gunfight, because that is the most dangerous thing once it gets horizontal, or rather vertical, with the sledge aesthetic who can open up the ceiling. That is when you start losing players on the side. So you need to make sure that you hit some targets with those Nitros before the damage is done by the side of SANDBOX.
Okay, SANDBOX, they've had their attack timeout, and you know that you're putting pressure on, but you also know that they've just had a time to try and pull some of this pressure back. Can you keep the momentum on? One more round secures you that OT, and to be fair, hitting that margin is huge, because then you have 2 chances to lock it out, 2 chances to mean you're one map away from finding yourselves the first Korean team inside the semis.
They're going from the bottom floor here with the sledge. I've mentioned it before, they need to use that verticality to try and sneak in, but this could be another quick round coming through from SANDBOX, because they're currently sneaking up the back stairs here. There's a player inside of mud. Rin is the first one to fall. Yas still on that top floor. Could drop the hatch at any given moment or try and cover it as well, but they find a way into the side. But Yas actually manages to reply. It's going to be the diffuser that gets picked up, and Static will be able to cover that one off. Needs to get the knife kill, but fails to do so on the actual cam. And it's a bit of a panic right here, but they still are in a position where they could go for a plant. A Nitro comes through. Grenades being tossed out. It's a bit of panic on every outer side. With 3v2 currently left, they have the opportunity to go for the plant. The Shell just catches one more off guard. Boogeyman, however, drops the diffuser in a very crucial moment.
Now, with 1:40, they do have time, but it's a 2 versus 1, and you wonder when you want to try and apply this pressure. There's a reveal, there's a spray, and the pings actually come through, so they have something back, but you've got to wait for that ticker timer to go. They know exactly where he is, but again, has the time. He's going to go for a drift around the other way. They're probably expecting a bit of a stretch. Yep, you know, it's fake this time round, so you got your creep in. They've got a cross-watch from the other side of the door, and that's going to be the chance of the reveal. And there it is, revealed and dropped, and DK. They take us back to level.
Close corner checked, unfortunately the wrong one. Yes, playing from that top floor above that hatch. Basically stopped that rush, stopped that round on his lonesome, dropped the diffuser and the extra man that could have been on the side for the cover. Otherwise that plan would have gone down quite early on, and you saw the panic right away from, well, DK members that were left on the side, but also the SANDBOX members who were trying to go for a quick plant here. That is how Shao picked up that very first kill. I believe that might have been droned in here as Yas. Very, just perfect moment there. Able to catch up that diffuser. Really slowing that push from Shirley coming to life.
Grenades over the top and just aggressive sprays on the drive-in was something that they were able to find some success with, but as we saw down on Kia, they had the attack timeout and it carried them across. However, it still came down to the 2 versus 2. It still came down to what was a bit of a flip of the coin. Granted, it's for a lot of teams a rougher sight and a lot of trickier plays, but I guess let's see if they can find some success here where they found it before. They obviously took trophy previously, but when we were here previously, SANDBOX tried a rush, which obviously since then, they've decided not for us.
I mean, the previous round was kind of an attempt, right? They completely ignored that top floor, and well, as a result, Gas was able to stop the quick push to come in through the basement. Just a member repelled up on Astro, for example, could have just completely changed that around by putting up some pressure on that window. Or at least force him to drop down the hatch. That could have been another free kill to come through. Either way, 5-5, we are staying quite close with the teams here. Whoever wins this round is the one that truly puts up the pressure to the other. This time, we don't work with points though. It's not you get 1 point if you at least secure the overtime. No, that if you secure the overtime, you secure the opportunity to get one of those maps underway. That is currently not going to happen yet. Rin taking a bit of damage there from the very first grenade, starting to barricade up, but I was going to say Harper is in a position to just swing around the corner, but that was a little bit further, or rather behind, compared to where I thought he was.
SANDBOX. Now, strangely, the pressure's on you. You lost the one after the Damwon Kia round. They've been able to at least claw some of this pace back, and look at the pace they're trying to claw back. They're being more adventurous underneath. They're looking for a little bit more potential in the fight. Yas has locked their way and obviously still has a bit of a pocket, but it seems like Harper's aware of it. Not that aware though, there's Yas. As I said, tucked away, ready for the drop, and Katsang there too. This is a good stretch and a big change for Damwon Kia. Instead of sort of sitting back onto the site and the holds itself that they've since realized SANDBOX are really good at taking, they've gone, well, let's play the game they were playing. Doesn't always work out. Shail gets an easy pick there against Yas, but with Katsang not far away, it's still far from over.
It's still far from over. There's 90 seconds on the clock, and SANDBOX is looking to be entering from 2-3 different sides. Currently is playing a very unpredictable game here, and that is currently keeping Damwon Kia on their toes, because they need to make sure that they reply to whatever quick aggression or more slow methodical movement SANDBOX is bringing is in proportion. Has worked out in some of the rounds here, 2 of them, at least 1 on their defense so far, but as the pings are starting to come through on the defense itself, it seems like they're aware that the pressure is coming through. Grenades are being tossed in from below, but will not be managing to hit anybody as of yet. Maybe a bit, of damage towards utility. That will probably be about it.
50 seconds, SANDBOX, and although you've been able to clear some of the underneath, that's the game that Damwon Kia are able to play, which they just could not pull off before. It's a slow, it's a stem, and it's still a Katsang deep in wine, waiting and enjoying a rotation potential that we saw win a round for SANDBOX previously. The close spray doesn't quite connect for Coded, but now they know that the pressure's over the top. There's a little bit of a time buyer, not popped quite yet. Through it and waits for this shotgun swing round. Flashes over the bop, there's the pack, there is the corner, and there's the drop, but look at that! The double over the top, Woogieman from the bedroom gets one more! A C4 locks it off, and Damwon Kia get themselves map point.
See, that Nitro that locked it off in the end there, but at the moment that the smoke canister pop was the moment that the adrenaline surge was activated as well. So they took double damage really moving through, more than they might have expected. Led to 2 eventual downs. Of course, a kill right after as well. And now DK have that match point, or map point rather. Could be locking off the first here. It was expected to go towards them. SANDBOX, however, putting up a very strong fight. Their attacks, however, they seem to be a bit unpredictable and sometimes not truly fully cohesive. Is this drop? I didn't understand why. They might have had information on Yas, but not super up to date. Sharp goes on that angle watch, was able to pick up 1, but in the end, too much damage done by the smoke canister as well as a player inside the concrete that would just be able to strike them down. And for their match point, DK will decide to go to Aviator Games. That will be the very next site you'll see as they quickly give each other some fist bumps. Make sure that the motivation stays high. SANDBOX, they are putting up a very close fight, but they're not the ones that have the map point now.
Okay, SANDBOX. It's been back and forth up to this point for quite a while. On your defenses at the beginning of the half, it was big chunks. Everyone was taking about 3 before they found themselves suddenly in a situation of, okay, we're on the other half. And here, it was back and forth, attack timeout, and now finally, Damwon Kia tied 2 together. They build a bit of pace, and again, I love the extension. I love that they're making SANDBOX more uncomfortable on approaches where SANDBOX have never looked more comfortable with things like a cheeky glass rush.
I really love that glass rush, by the way. Kind of unfortunate we saw it the second time around because they were going to be ready for it as Envy Taylor is looking to pick up, a kill here. No, goes off on the angle at the very wrong moment here. Of course, SANDBOX already had the entry on their name. The player is still there. No shots being fired so far. It is quite close. In the meantime, you see that replay on Shao, who is so good at getting these kills through the window. I believe it was just a pre-fire. It might not even had any information, but it still helps off that you pick up Yas, a player that has 11 kills currently. He is such a driving force on the side of DK, together with Rin often.
Well, the drop drone, and he's playing this a little bit more cautiously than he was before, as they've still got some of the giveaway. The Banshee to scream at the potential of a swing up, and SANDBOX is scarpered for now. Katsang on the stretch is just making sure they have some of the lock, and they know how important this can be. Rin, with the late round Valkyrie Cam on the outside, is going to see what trouble can be caused. That grenade causes none. Nova hoped it would lead to a swing round, but again, that's the difference here. There's a lot more caution on those main stairs being played. Instead, the extension is the pressure elsewhere. The canister stops any rise and any chance of SANDBOX seeing if they can claim it. And in similar situations to what they forced upon Damwon Kia, we might start to have to see a late round rotation and reimagination of what they can do.
This grenade could be dealing huge damage. Indeed, it does. It's Ketsang that is fallen now. Coded is trying to put up some pressure here, retaking these brown stairs, using these smoke canisters to try and waste some time, but the pressure is coming in from the steady side as well. There's still a minute 10 left on the clock. There's no way he can waste as much time, but Woogieman, in the meantime, is coming from the back as Harper takes quite a bit of damage. The question is Woogieman going to continue this flank, or is he falling back towards the side, because SANDBOX is about to be ascending the stairs right here into an opportunity to try and cover it off. The all damage will be done by the smoke canister, but it's just a single tick, and they now have control of those round stairs.
Rin getting one back, and Shyle on the flank watch for Woogieman, who's going to see if he can make his way up the stairs. He is concerned about the drone, but there's still a body about to hit the main door as well. Shyle's going to find the fight instantly. The pings, and he gets it. A very important take, and suddenly it is just coated on the back line. A clutch player many times before, but no canisters. He gets dropped on the first spray, and SANDBOX take us to OT.
There you have it. They take us to OT, and who would have expected otherwise, considering these two teams know each other through and through. There's so much on the line now. They both want to be the first, well, the Korean team that goes to the semis and carries the hopes and dreams of APAC and their country. Because it has been such a long time since we've seen an APAC team in semis.
The diffuser.
And will this be? Well, we will know that it is going to be an APAC team in there. But which one will it be? Is the big question. Is it going to be SANDBOX? Is it going to be Damwon Kia? And whoever picks up this first map after these next 3 rounds, it's a bit of a sprint game now. Whoever gets to win the next 3 wins the game. Or rather the map is going to be in a good position for the remainder of this best of 3.
So, we have generally seen this go even either side. Is it better that Damwon Kia is starting on their defense?
Ooh,
who knows?
smart.
But SANDBOX are taking this moment, and yes, as you said, smart. Have a conversation. Although they won the most recent round, reset the pace, reset the mindset, build a little bit of tension. A little bit of tension in the air for Damwon Kia, because this is in an effect and a way heavier for them if it goes against them. It's their map, and sure, we very often see chosen maps go back and forth, but it is a huge mental effect. It is a huge consideration with all the pressure that is otherwise on this game.
Not just that, but you also put the pressure on for the entire second map, because you have already got, you already got that first map. You do not necessarily need to win it. It would be nice if you do.
It would be nice.
You know, they need to win it, because otherwise they're out of the tournament and they are going home. And that is the truth about it. One of these two teams, potentially after the next map, is going to be eliminated. But first, we still have 3 more rounds to play before we even start talking about that second map. It is DK on that defense yet once again, and there is no true favorite, I would say. If you looked at the rounds, 3-3 in the splits, either way, 50% win rate on either side. Now, I think, however, SANDBOX, they have a lot more left in their attacking side. Their attacks were often quick. 2 rounds, they tried to go quick. 2 rounds, they lost it as well. Those are 2 out of 3 rounds they lost in total. So, I think if they take this methodical and strategically, SANDBOX should be able to pull out the win here.
Again, that's one of the things that I really like about SANDBOX's attack, and I talked about it a little bit briefly when it first started, is their fearlessness. And one of the most obvious ways to see it is how they deal with smokes versus other teams. They go through them. It doesn't slow them down. They go, okay, I'm going to take this fight. They pre-fire and spray the chance on the angle and find a new spot to sit on the other side of it. Even if there's, you know, it doesn't matter how much time there is on the clock, they're going to go through that smoke because they've already decided where they want to be, and a little bit of little bad air isn't going to stop them.
And I mean, if you have the Fink on the board, you can just heal up right after with the amount of damage you've done. You just got to be careful that you don't do it right before, because otherwise you are going to find yourself taking the double amount of damage. In the meantime, Harper taking control of that top floor, opening up into study, opening up the vault as well towards the 90 area. really to put up the pressure onto DK. The complete area of the map has been taken under control by SANDBOX. The next point of worry, however, will be the red stairs. You can always see one or two players that maybe think about, going on a bit of a flank. As Shal again playing on these windows, he's been able to consistently find kills on the back of them. Will not be allowed to do so now. Rin just holding passively here, waiting for a jump in, but the pinch is about to come through. Doors are starting to be opened, and surely they're about to be pushing in with two members at the same time as Harper is starting to open up from above as well. Rin will be forced out of the living room.
Well, how can they start to bring this together here? Because that is half of the round gone. They've done a huge amount of structural work. They've looked for all the routes they've made. They're setting themselves up, as you said, a methodical approach. Hey, remember how they tried to take this site last time and how it failed? Yeah. The round was pretty much over by this point already, so they know what they need to do, and it's to keep themselves at a bit of a pace. Damwon Kia are trying to work out where the approach is coming from. In a way, so is SANDBOX. You can see them spread out huge all the way around the map. They're still trying to find a Damwon Kia player to pinch. They like to get one, maybe two entrances before they try and make the grand reveal of where they want to try and stick that diffuser. Nothing has been handed their way by Damwon Kia yet.
I think what we're about to be seeing here is that SANDBOX starts the eventual push onto the site, and then we see Harper, the one man up above, to start pushing through. He needs to pick up these kills to stop the verticals from hurting his team too much. And well, as Woogie is rotating around, checking vertical after vertical, he had been spotted on drones before. They know his rough position truly. As Rin putting up a bit of damage here, will be trying to put up the pressure as well with some bullets flying their way, but SANDBOX not too shaken yet, but they need to move now.
30 seconds, every player still alive, and probably the first time we've seen that all game. The first grenade heads to Pantry and just does a bit of damage to Katsang. They have the hatch to drop, but they're going to take the fight, and they're going to win it, importantly. And the diffuser is cold, and Pantry takes the drop, and suddenly it's a little bit back and forth, but it's all coming up red, but no diffuser. You got to pick it up, you got to run it to the side and hold F, but Katsang keeps it locked down, and it's a huge clutch by Katsang!
Diffuser moving in alone there through the pantry stairs, and that is eventually what lost them the round. Yeah, once again, Damwon Kia will be on the map point now. After it seemed like it was going SANDBOX's way, they had the entries onto the side, just not the diffuser anymore. That one was caught off guard by a player into the pantry, which they were not aware of. The check was there, the gunfight was not. And as Yggdrasil is their final goal to reach the top of it. This Katsang that truly got this clutch on the way, the very first kill to come through, and as I said, the other kills all went SANDBOX's way. It is just Katsang that was able to hold them off. They wanted to go for it, they wanted to pick it up first, the Ana, then the Nitro, as he knew the pressure was about to come down. He didn't pick up the double, but at least stopped them from grabbing that diffuser yet once again and forcing him to go back up with the cover that was still there. You see, it means so much for them. They're ready for it. They're hyped. And we're going to Aviator Games. That is the side that SANDBOX wants to defend on. And they know now as well that Damwon Kia, well, they're in the lead. They have the advantage. Can they bring it back, though? Can they let it come down to just a 50-50 at the very next round?
Well, I'm kind of happy it's going all the way, you know? Obviously, it's still map 1, it's the potential of the best of 3, but the fact that these two teams were drawn against each other, the fact that all of the final representation for the possibility of this region is in this one game, and the fact that it decides who holds that massive mantle of being the first Korean team to go the distance. Oh, and one more fact, that we've not seen these two giants of the region go up against each other in an extended series before. I really wanted this to be a fight, and it entirely is so far. So, SANDBOX, can you bring back 2 final rounds?
The big question here is the RC Retiros are about to start striking onto the utility of SANDBOX. Angles are being watched pretty far as they're attempted, but Nova close around the corner. Wonder if he had been spotted before by any of these drones. Surely they'll check it before they start moving in through the study. Harper playing close as well, has the opportunity to just swing on the door when, you know, his teammate starts to get some of that pressure. A very offside hold, however. I believe 2 or 3 members are currently below and they would need to go back up onto the red stairs. Yas currently has that under lock and key, so they will need to go through him or go all the way through Brown, which is a long way round towards the actual site. And Shallow is on 14 kills, does exactly that, takes the Brown stairs under control as well. Will decide to be the next anchor on it though, as Rin trying to enter from the 90, just not find anybody.
I think that's the main thing here is how quick they're able to get a hold on that. I think they expected a little bit more of the early game from SANDBOX. The loose play that was being punished by the end of it, SANDBOX has learnt. They still have the roam. They still have the underneath player that has been in a huge effect. Yep. And Villa is vast. Villa is hefty. There's so much that you have to try and get a bit of control on. MV Taylor and Static can go to a floor that most people who have played this map, in my ranked games at least, don't even know exists. And that's the big problem here, is DK are working out. Do we want to try and go for a deep dive? Something that's worked a little bit of the time, but mainly against us. Or do we try and keep a bit of the solidity on the angles? It seems like plan A is the pinch on the study towards the strategy table.
And there is still the Nitro available, so you got to keep that one into mind. We could see NV Taylor starting to push back up, and that's exactly what's currently happening. Our Sewer Terrors are being used here to try and clear out the very final points of the site and make sure that they have the opportunity to plant, which is exactly what Kota does right now. Is NV Taylor going to be able to come in time, though, with the Etron Nitro?
No, is the answer. An awkward silence pauses, and suddenly it is all to play for with 40 seconds. That's a slip through the fingers on the call is going to work entirely against SANDBOX. Another one falls, and Damo and Kia are playing their angle game. NV Taylor, one to drop, and Static. A play that slipped beyond the watch that they've been so exceptional on throughout all of this, pushes them away. That staircase is closed, and there's at least one, but that is no more time, no more lives, and one map that just goes the way of Damwon Kia.
And that's the first locked in for them. That means the pressure is truly on SANDBOX. The GGs are still being called in the chat. You do not see that, but the members of DK, they know what this means. They know they have the advantage now. And are they going to be able to continue that?
It was everything I wanted from a first game. It was a game between two huge teams, and they both showed up. They had moments of weakness, but then it built itself to the sharp bouts of brilliance. And it's only going to get more intense as we find ourselves on the following map, Coastline, and then potentially on the closer of Oregon, which will offer a little bit more on terms of the attack.
Yeah, that's it, right? Coastline is going to be that, well, more aggressive kind of game. We've already seen quite a bit of pace coming through from, well, SANDBOX, but also from the side of DK. And I cannot wait to see what Coastline will bring to us, because that is going to be a very explosive game.
Now we're going to throw it back over to our wonderful analysts underneath the snake of Jormungandr. I was corrected about what it's called. Over on the other side. Take it away, Milos.
Thank you very much, M and Hap. What a way to start off the playoffs here in Gävle. Man, we went to Villa and it went to OT, and a victory for Damwon Kia. Keeney, I look at you to start this off first, because I think predictions-wise, we're like, okay, this is going to be tight. But for map 1 to kick off this way, I don't know what even would have come up to throw off SANDBOX in this game.
I mean, what an opener. I mean, you love to see it. 8-6. It was a really impressive game, and I really loved seeing the bans that we saw. Yeah, seeing that Jaeger ban from SANDBOX really opened up the game. We saw smoke executes, really cool to see from SANDBOX. We saw a lot of nades being used. And I think that kind of scared off Damwon a little. They love to play Goyo and set up that with Jaeger. So that kind of scared them a bit and shook them up a bit. But in the end, Damwon did take it.
Seeing that Flores de Rataro drone kind of moving in and zoning out inside of Gunvault was definitely a cool strategy in Adjust.
And it was unnecessary as well, because with the Jaeger ban, you're like, oh, we got nades galore. We can use Gone 6 if we want. We have everything to play with. And they were like, no, we want the smokes. We want the glass. And I was like, okay, your flavor, your thing, do what you got to do. For me personally, I'm watching that match and I'm worried for Damwon Kia. SANDBOX is a 50-50 kind of team. They win about 46 to 47% of their attacks and vice versa for their defenses. So for them to go chippity-choppity on each half, that's fine. That's okay. That's what we expect of SANDBOX Gaming. But of Damwon Kia, we don't. They are a pretty defensive team. So that was a big worry for me. But they got to OT, they got it done. My predictions are safe for now.
And I respect it from SANDBOX. I respect the strategy and what they were trying to do. They were going up on a map that they don't necessarily like. They know their opponents like it. So ban away the Jaeger, play the smokes, play this aggressive style. We saw 2 rushes back to back. I always say the first round is the best round to rush. SANDBOX went for a second round as well.
Yeah.
And it was a really entertaining game to watch. But obviously that kind of shock and awe strategy, as the game goes on, Damwon played into it a lot more, and you saw them come up trumps just in the end. And one thing I will say is that clutch by Katsang.
Oh, that was so
He
beautiful.
was so good, but he was also saved by a Wamai disc that gave. So yes, when he was trying to go through, get through the Aruni gate, he tried nading the Aruni gate.
Yep.
It got caught by a Wamai disc, and that just slowed up that very late push.
That's why he used the gun?
And that's why he used the gun. And then he was. It was a lot of indication that they were coming, and just allowed that clutch to happen. It was such nice play by Damwon towards the end of the game. Like you said, it did look a little bit shaky. Those rounds 7 to 8 and 9, but they came up clutch in the end.
The Nitro that won it all really helped out in
Really?
that situation. Both teams have played against one another 1,000,001 times over the past year. I mean, Damwon Kia just came in to APAC North this year. You and Hap casted them in the qualifications, basically, into APAC North to Korea. And now they're here at the major, their second one of the year, and they take map 1 in a very tight. Do you expect this to be so close between them again?
That's my worry again. There's just a lot of worries for me when it comes to Damwon Kia. They won. Don't get me wrong, they won, and I'm proud of them for it. But when you go onto a map that is your second highest rated map out of your entire 7 map pool, and you bring it that close against a bottom 2 map for your opponent, I'm thinking you're cutting things a little too close. So for me, I'm sitting here going, okay, you're going on to your opponent's almost best map pick in the next map. You barely managed to win your own map. Quick maths in my head, that is not equaling some good stuff. I don't know what you think, but I'm not feeling good.
Actually, we're going to pull up that map somewhere.
Are we?
To get those stats on the board as the replays kind of go through. So, Kini, you talked about the Jaeger ban and its impact on here. Was there anything else that we just couldn't see off of just, ban phase on its own?
I mean, we had the entries. Going into round 9, Damwon had 100% entry kill. They got every single. Yas got 1, Rin got 1, Woogie got 1, Yas and Rin got 1, Rin got 1, Yas 1, Katsang, Coated, and then SBX got their first entry. So they were just extremely consistent at finding those opening kills. Had a little bit troubles actually closing them out sometimes, but I mean, they're really scary at getting those entries, and I think that's going to help them going into Coastline.
I'm looking at that sort of match. So we look to the middle of your screen where it has those nice little briefcases and skulls, the nice blue and the orange, and I'm looking there thinking there is a distinct lack of briefcases on that timeline for me. Why? Because I knew full well Damwon Kia would want to play the objective game, but SANDBOX is like, no, I ain't having about that. So yeah, I think for me, I'm looking at that thinking Coastline's going to be a tricky one for Damwon Kia if they can't get the plan down.
Yeah, and especially when they're getting the entries, as Bikini said, is you were opening up the round. They were in, 5v4 minimum, 5v3s, and then they're losing the round from that position. If they can't get the objective down as well, then, I really do fear for them going into a map that, as we said, isn't their preference map in Coastline. One thing the SANDBOX had was a plan for Villa. They knew they were going to a bad map, and they had a plan for that map. I hope Damwon Kia have got a plan going into Coastline.
All right, Coastline and entry kills. How does it translate into it? Kini, Jess, and Fresh, thank you very much. It is time for map 2. We already went to overtime in the first one. Villa and Coast is up next. Gonna take a quick break and head directly into match Damwon Kia for SANDBOX Gaming. Enjoy.
everyone, and welcome back to Game 2 of this South Korean showdown, Damwon Kia. They took Villa, but it was theirs to take, and it was only just SANDBOX Gaming. Okay, there is a bit of pressure, because this is a best of 3, baby.
There is going to be definitely a bit of pressure here, and we are soon to head up into map number 2. Now, you just heard on the desk, Jess is a bit worried, because SANDBOX was going to be able to bring it to OT. It was supposed to be a clear cut for Damwon there, but not really the case, and that means that when we do go to Coastline, well, first of all, it could all end here for SANDBOX. It could be the end of their run here in the playoffs in Sweden. But it could also be the extension and the opportunity for us to go to Oregon, map number 3, to really let this series go to the end. And we'll get to see it very soon because we're heading right into the game here. It is going to be Coastline. First, of course, we will start with the bans, the operators that will not be allowed to be brought in to the matchup here. Do you have any guesses? Any bets?
No.
No bets?
Because after the Jaeger, and that's the thing, and this is the thing I tried to highlight and emphasize, is there's a lot of defaults, and it might be default, but this is when, if you are regional competitors,
yeah,
on multiple different leagues, you bring out that something a little spicy, something a little extra, in the words that maybe bounced around.
Some funky bands?
Some funky bands.
Oh, it doesn't seem to be the case yet, though. The first two go the exact same way. The Thatcher and the Jackal that have been removed. And now the question is, will we see similar defensive bans as well? That was a Mira, which is so far coming through. All right.
Valk?
Well, we could see Valk. That is a very solid choice, actually. That would change it up slightly. Or it's going to be Jaeger again. It's a Rooney. Okay.
Okay, SANDBOX. See, to be fair, so far, SANDBOX have been the team that's been playing around these bans. The Jaeger and now the Rooney.
I mean, they did lose a round towards the Surya gate.
They did.
The rush, but I wouldn't. It was dropped.
I mean, I'm gonna take a guess.
It's not just the Surya gate.
It's probably not just the reason they banned it, but it is removed. It is out of the fight and the fray. Okay. Tachanka starting on the board, whether that sticks around. To be fair, in the hands of Harper, that will offer them some extension in terms of opening up the big angles that are played. SANDBOX are in on their defense. It would have been the choice of Damwon Kia, but as is tradition, Coastline is a map that often it lends itself to teams that enjoy a good attack.
Yep, they do love themselves some nice attacks, and DK starting off on it. We'll start with the very basic side. It is going to be okay and full. Let's see how it will be working out. What will the attack be? Because it is, of course, like we've just seen on Villa, the strategies have differed from what we have seen across the year through the stages, and of course through the group stages as well. It's going to be good to see what kind of long angles will be used here to try and, well, truly challenge these assault rifles that the attackers carry. At the same time, DK, well, they might just try and go for a bit of a quick push themselves here and there if they find out there's only one person currently on the side.
Moving to defuse a bomb.
I guess that's the thing about Coastline is for a lot of us, it was a little bit up in the air as to where it might go because we've seen it recently from SANDBOX in the groups. We know it's a good SANDBOX map. It's statistically better than a Damwon Kia map, but in groups, SANDBOX has gone away from them. But in groups, SANDBOX played Team 1 on it twice. A hot contender, a tournament favorite, and recent major champions are obviously going to put a bit of pressure on you. And it's not to say that Damwon Kia weren't pressured when they played it, but at the same time, it might have to be taken into consideration in terms of skewing those numbers. Is SANDBOX still confident enough after being dismantled on it twice?
That will be the big question, and surely we will find out the answers very soon. The first minute has, or is still passing currently, and the pressure is slowly starting to rise up here. DK very heavy towards the actual hookah side. Drones are coming through. Shao is currently playing on the blue stairs. There's then a single player on the actual side, so there's definitely going to be an opportunity to go quick here. Air jabs are being placed to make sure no one will be able to come in from below and get those nitros up, and make sure that verticality is going to be a deciding factor here, especially not if Boogeyman is going to be active around on the same corner as well, just holding that flank, hoping to shut down any SANDBOX members who come in quick.
Now Damon Kira seeing if they can get the hold and the read and where everybody is. The drone's going to make its way in via Aqua, and Static's actually going to pull himself back. They're keeping themselves at arm's length. They're making sure that they don't bleed themselves early, because Coastline gets hot fast. It's all cross angles, big holds, and bold dives towards the site that Coated dabbled with, but suffered just a little on the swing on the door. Charlotte's ready to see if he can pop over, and, well, they're ready to have a response. But Yas has finally been able to creep their way into the building in some regard. It's not that crazy to be this late in getting in, but Shy will make sure that no one else does. The spray comes round. He's dropped his way on. He's found his way behind the bar, and with the pressure underneath, it's an opener, but they can't quite get the connection to Yas.
Nitros are being used. They know Yas indeed is inside of the aquarium, or at least close to it. And Rin in the meantime trying to find Harper, playing inside the VIP with that Tachanka. It's going to be the DP27 that fails to amaze. As a result, DK pick up a kill, turn it back into that 4-on-4. Yas aware of a flank potentially in the making here, and decides to go on a bit of a quick flank watch, but as he doesn't see anybody on those stairs, rotates back towards the side as well, with Katzing joining him, I believe, the diffuser. As they want to go in quick, Rin is in a crucial position here. He needs to get this very first kill. The pre-fire fails to come through, but the plant in the meantime is going to be attempted.
There, the cover comes through. It's a 4 versus 2, and they had to pull off the plant, but they're going to see if they can swing for the fight. No! A lack of a connection. They still had the body underneath in case they tried to pick it up and move on to the default, but at that choice, that moment, 10 seconds and no vertical, well, they made an option. It was a bit of a slow build. You could see the moment they tried to get the execute, and the very important kill happened around Hookah. That drop, that forced the rotation, that forced a new position. The slow creep of Rin down from VIP round towards the back of the bar. If that had gone their way, it's an entirely different round. But it wasn't.
Definitely. If Rin was going to be able to pick up that kill, then suddenly you have a bit of a safer opportunity to go for the actual plan. You could have gone on the pool table. You could have even gone towards the Hookah area. Now, not the case, of course. Envy from below, dropping that diffuser, coming in big. In the end, all the gunfights truly went SANDBOX's way. It was a bit scrappy, you have to say, though. Those final gunfights, they were quite 50-50, especially on the smoke, both of them. Both of the times he was in one. Could have been picked up by DK's side, but did not. Go towards the kitchen. Next site to go for. Verticality is key here. You can basically open up every single thing above, and that means that if you start to go for that plant,
10 seconds left.
it is going to be quite difficult to at least, first of all, stick it if you don't have that top floor control, or to retake it as a defender if you do not have that top floor control. It more so goes to the kitchen itself than the pantry next to it. Service, because that is, of course, partially part. It's near the VM hallway. Yes, attempted to go for a bit of a wallbang there. Could have actually caught off Nova, I believe.
Yeah, they had a read that someone was doing that quite late and thought they would go a bit bold and brash, but that's Coast. It can be so sharp at times. It is paper thin. As soon as you find yourself breaking through that outer layer, you're suddenly on a site. Or if you're not, you will often have angles to the site. It is just a box, the danger donut, as highlighted and often cited, and it just becomes, it's a 2-step program. 1 step into the building, and the 2nd step is look down and plant, usually.
Yeah, for sure. It's Katzing, however, I'm not quite sure where he's piled up on or he's trying to achieve. The question here remains, is DK going for the verticality, or are they trying to go for a horizontal take? It's quite important considering there is quite a bunch of SANDBOX members up on the top, as Katzing does open up a hatch though. Decides to try and cut out the reinforcement. Needs to do so carefully. Is this just for a line of sight? It could just be for a line of sight on the rappel, actually. Oh, and he makes an opening next to it. So just there for the cover as Rin. Could be finding someone on the Lambo door here.
Still down on Kira, weighing up options and working out where they want to get the approach. As you said, they're opening themselves up some angles, but well, the first comes through for them. Rin drops Envy Taylor on the open door and goes for a quick hot foot round to potentially find a new place of entrance, where they go into the back of security and CCTV to cut off that player on the back of the lobby, which is Harper, or they go to the top. It seems like It's going to be a bit of a clear from above. They have time to open up some vertical. They have time to force and shepherd some players into uncomfortable situations. There's the replay on the take. Entirely caught out. Error, mistimed rotation.
Thought it was potentially going to be safe on that door as a Gemini is activated, but Nova has no clue where. So to go aggressive, and yes, now seems to be aware that one was playing close on that server's door. So just on a hold now. All the DK players hoping to pick up yet another kill. Absolutely not really working towards an actual plan, because if you just look at everybody, well, some of them are droning, but most of them are just standing still. And as I say that, it's going to be Yas that could swing around the corner here with a very big kill. Now they have the opening into service, but that's no longer an area where you can plant. You need to go much deeper now, and with a double grenade set being used, they could try and make their ways in.
Well, the pings come through and they still have a backline, but it's the fight in the courtyard that goes away from them. Rin with one more! Finally put out of the misery, but the triple kill is more than enough to secure the Damwon Kia response. Oh yeah, it's still neck and neck.
It is still back and forth indeed. Starting off with a strong round there for SANDBOX. Now DK with an even stronger one, truly being able to punish every single SANDBOX member one by one. Not giving them an opportunity to fight back. And as I said, they were not even really trying to prepare for the plan. I mean, they were getting rid of players, they were holding these angles, but that was mostly what they were doing, just holding these angles. At no point were they truly set up to go for the execute with 20 seconds left. That was, at that moment, actually, the diffuser who managed to get up to that door to run through. But it didn't seem like it was the intent of the round to go for the plants there.
The Lion swapped off is a big bait play because Lion does get a lot of presence on Coastline, more than probably any other map because of the way it's built. Hey, that's cool. I don't think they expect us to all have it on the over-the-top view. We have seen that camera a few times, and it is very cool. It gives you a distinct look at how each of the players is running on the setup or on the play around it. And there's some cool Death Martyr! James! A year ago, they were GBS, yet to qualify for APAC League. Now they've taken the first map against the long-standing best in Korea and a 1 game from a 6 major semi. ...
Don't forget the dramatic dots at the end there.
You want to know anything about APAC? That's my man.
Definitely, he's the walking encyclopedia almost of the APAC region.
He's Australian you.
Is he now?
Yeah.
I like, you know, how, what's it called? Des always calls me pedantic. And he's like, it's like you're a mini Dev.
Steve with 3 letters, Dev, Tap, and then there's Jesse J. Chick of NAL. The other 3 versions of each other that we each have in all of the 3 regions across the board. I don't speak Portuguese well enough to know who it is.
I have no
the amazing Brazilian streams, but I'm sure that they have a Brazilian version of you as well.
I'd like to think so. Either way, Yas coming around the corner here, gets the very first kill. Shal gets picked up, and Yas, well, even under the proximity that gives away his position, is able to pick up that kill. Twitch drone quickly brought into safety as Static, hoping to find a response into Yas, but currently he's not really giving way. He's wanting to continue that push down towards those blue stairs. That means the top floor control has been gained by DK, and that is massive. This allows them to start opening up, and where often these kind of holes, these kind of plants die is due to the fact that the top floor is no longer under control. Someone, when they start planting, to, you know, take them down from above. So as long as DK is going to be able to hold on to this top floor now, a plant surely will be on the way soon.
Nova trying to find a fight with the drone and an FO12, and, well, it's scrappy, but that thing isn't built for accuracy. It's built to absolutely tear somebody on half on a quick entrance, and there's not many places it's better placed than there. However, that's the force and that's the push away. The MPX is now going to take the slightly longer fight as they go for the stretch around towards office. See if they can find that width. As I said, Coastline is angles, and you can see instantly on the office door will give them that cross section, that fight, that bite.
Oh, Rin!
Through Rin. 5-2, and they're still going They are repeatedly driving in until now. There's a very important take by Harper because Rin is stepping up.
It's a bit of the top floor control that has fallen. However, it is not really like SANDBOX have the manpower to try and retake it. Next thing that needs to happen though is this wall to be opened up, and it will be the Buck that does it from above. Flashbangs are about to be tossed in as NV falls. The plans will be going down soon. Coded inside, right behind the bar. It's Harper that tries to find a response. Smoke canisters will be used. The question is, will they stick it? The answer is yes, as Coded will not even die or go DVNO as a result of it. It's now Nova that needs to retake that top floor control. He also knows that there's no way he can get this defuse to happen, and the FO12 comes through. All 11 buckshots used there to get that very first kill, but now he needs to find 2 more, and those 2 are in different positions. He can try and go for a bit of verticality here, but the question is how effective will it be with the positions that are currently taken by these players? He goes almost down to 1 HP though, and the timer starts to run out, so let's go to gets the very final kill. It was going DK's way, and they lock it off in the end as well.
With the guns he had, that was the right move and the only move, because you're not going to be able to try and drive your way into blue and take the fights on the angles. He was aware of that. Yeah. He had to live up to the fantastic Viking-driven content and charge them with everything. Do or die, at least you find your way in glorious battle. 2-1. Damwon Key are able to secure another round. It is their attacks on Coast. It's not the biggest early warning sign as of yet because, as we said, in the meta and this map, it does lend itself well to attackers. What I will say is a bit of a danger, is a bit of a worry, is potentially Rin, a player who's been a bit back and forth in terms of how much of an impact they've had throughout games. They have so far been massive, a 3K and a 2K across the opening sort of selection, the way they're driving themselves in. It's a worry.
Yeah, and don't forget the pressure as well. DK already have a map in their pocket. So if they do close up this very first half, leading the game as well, the pressure will be big on the side of SANDBOX. They will have to make sure, as you see the 5 drone view, quickly check on some of the pre-placed drones that these players would like to go for. DK, their whole job here during this half is to get as much rounds as possible. And with doing that, multiply the pressure that's currently on SANDBOX. Imagine this ends in a 5-1. You're a map behind, you're currently also a point away from reaching a match. And Sammy's point, well, that is what the DWG Kia will have in that case. And that's something that SANDBOX does not really want to have. They want to lead this matchup. They need to bring it back to a map 3.
Hey, there's that Lion that was baited out and swapped before, and this time he's definitely on the board. Boogeyman is seeing if he can get an angle towards the courtyard, but he's going to drop the drone, and I'm curious to see if they lean against this. If this doesn't go checked, that could be a great strike from the bottom of Cool Vibes. Charles doesn't actually stick around. He's going to pull himself back up, knows he doesn't need to throw his life away in that fight, but Heavy Taylor almost takes Yasses out. Pre-fires the other door, expecting a 2-person push, but only 1 came, and at that point, they're not going to stick around. However, look at Katsang's positioning. They're trying to cut off the back route, his way out. He's their first target. They have pretty much every door covered, and he's got to try and fight his way out.
He will have to, as Envy slowly being surrounded as well. Drones are right above him, however, so nothing to worry about on that aspect. The information is not accurate. Just a little bit of sound. Rin in the meantime, though, just dancing around, hoping to find someone that makes a bit of a misstep, so that allows them to continue going. Gemini Replicator will be used. We saw some aggressive pushes from the get-go the last time around as a bit of a rotate has been called. It seems like Aquarium will be the place to go through, and as there is currently no verticality being held, it is going to be the Yana Gemini that will get some valuable information, and grenades to be tossed in as well to move Nova a bit further back. This allows someone to rappel up on that double window to put up some extra pressure, potentially get an extra grenades as well as they prepare themselves for an execute.
Static's going to creep their way back up and try and find a fight over the side of Luggage. If this has gone unchecked in the early game, that could be a disaster. The unfortunate bounce on the short floors, a different count is required on Coast and a different distance, and neither of them is able to connect with Nova. Pops the canister on the double window and make sure they have some solidity. Coded's going to re-drone himself and get some clarity as they slow creep and crawl their way. Static's holding an angle down, locked off. He's hoping Coated drifts past, does, but doesn't get caught out by it. They're aware, and the fight is about to hold together. A great take by Coated. And there's a bit of fire and a bit of flame around on the side itself as they're going to pop those big old fiery pellets from the Tachanka and the big gun. But DK keep themselves in it, keep the body balance, and put the pressure underneath Nova. He now has to pay full attention, and 30 seconds, they still have time to bring some of this back together.
All they truly need to do is get rid of Harper, who keeps putting the sights on fire, but he's dug in deep inside the VIP. They do manage to find the smoke, however. It's a 2-on-4 situation. Coda wants to go in with that diffuser, but it gets dropped by Shao. They went for a bit of a rotate. 14 seconds are left. Katsing knows that he needs to pick it up. He knows that they need to go big. Rin will be able to pick up the very first kill. That enables them now to go for a plant. Harper, 1v2, needs to find a cover that allows him to continue pushing on as the timer runs out, and Rin gets the very final kill. It is DK that leads, even more so now, with a 3-1. A rightfully called rotate, because the Shumika launcher was continuing to put fire down onto the default plant spot. They could literally, physically not enter from that side. They had to rotate, and successfully did so.
SANDBOX Gaming are losing a bit of the sight of where the Damwon Kia players are. The frequency that we are seeing a DK player, especially Rin, crouching and arriving in a location that surprised SANDBOX. And they go for the swing, they go for the connection, and sure, you see here, a lot of the time, it's just a clean push round. And then obviously the lock-off, it is the worry, but it is a worry that we've seen across this whole tournament. Now, they're going to have their tactical pause. They want to see if they can get themselves the even split, because although it is a weighted map, it is still their map. The same conversations that we had about Villa and about, obviously, it being DK's ground and stomped territory, it is the same here for SANDBOX.
For sure, and DK currently in that lead and are currently dismantling the side of SANDBOX quite effectively. And that's something they need to stop. They cannot afford to keep losing these rounds. I said it before, with every round that passes, the pressure seems to be rising on the side of SANDBOX, considering that DK already have that extra map in their advantage. And now, 2 rounds extra as well. 2 more rounds to play, however, on this first half, so there is the opportunity for them to make it a 5-1 or go for a 4-2. Whereas SANDBOX, well, they're looking to at least close this off in a even split. A rough 3-3, just to make sure that they have that extra opportunity in the next half.
The pressure is on for SANDBOX as they find themselves fighting in the hallowed halls of Valhalla, or for it. I'm not entirely sure on the mythology, but I'm trying to learn as fast as I can, because that is obviously the setup. That is where we find ourselves, and that is, unfortunately, what SANDBOX are staring down right now. Is finding themselves taken out of the chance for all of the glory at the end. 3-1. Attack timeout is their only option this map to try and put this train back on the right tracks to drive it to our 3rd map.
Now, they used it during or after round 12 the last time around. The moment they managed to bring it to OT. Didn't really work out in the end there, unfortunately, for them. Their coach has just spoken to them. Let's see if this time around they are going to be able to turn it around. Angles are being opened up, reinforcements are being arranged. We are, of course, in the kitchen and the service. Now, verticality, said it before, is going to be important. It's something that, however, DK either does not care about at all, or they actually put a lot of emphasis on it, just like you saw during 2 rounds.
Well, that's an early take. Rin, still on the tear from before, gets the F2 through the door. Make sure they take care of Harper, who has, to be fair, been in a bit of a back and forth with them this entire game so far. And this one, it flips into the way of a player who, when they show up, it does not spell good news for the opponents. The E1D vibrates across the sky and makes everybody pause for thought and concern.
Rin portraying there why your drones are so important, really able to pick up that very first kill, and from that moment onwards, everything suddenly becomes a lot more easy. Boogeyman, however, could be challenged from that window. You see NV Taylor was creeping towards it, hoping to potentially find a DK player as a result. Maybe waiting for a repel sound or anything like that, as Rin looking to push through. It's Shao, however, that's close around the corner. It's the Famos again to rein in. And Rin gets a 2nd kill of the round, bringing it to a 5-on-3 situation. every man that falls, there is less people left on the actual side, especially if Nova's being challenged as well. Has to stand still now. Katseng goes for the jump in through the kitchen window. Envy Taylor is forced now to fall back. The side is under control. Coated wants to go for the plant as Rin gets yet another kill. It is only up to Envy now. Is he going to drop or is he waiting for Rin to pass him? Leon at least stops him for now.
Time and time again, Rin is just finding themselves in a fight where he is absolutely able to dismantle and take SANDBOX by surprise. Envy Taylor, well, they have more than a big ask in front of them, the 5 versus 1. They've got to see if they can do anything, and nothing is being handed to them. Damwon Kia take the tack timeout that SANDBOX utilized and said, oh no, we're not going to your pace, this is still ours. All over the site, nobody is caught. It's just an extension of that conversation as it was before. He didn't try and drive for anything other than this, but still 4 rounds to Damwon Kia, who are injuring themselves more than each other.
Having a bit of fun.
Having a bit of fun.
They are starting to creep away just slowly. And, you were just talking about Rin, how he time and time manages again to, during these playoff stages right now, but also during the groups yesterday, come in clutch. The amount of kills he manages to reel in, absolutely insane. It all started off with the entry you just now see on the screen, but after that as well, just checking, didn't really have the information from the drone, but just a flick on point. And able to clean it up as a result. Now, mind you, I got a bit of a piece of information from Grant from DC, who always puts all those stats up.
Yeah, they're great stats.
Yeah, they're great stats. And I asked, is there any milestones coming up? And he mentioned Rin can get the 1,000th career kill during this next series.
How many do they need?
28 in total. And, well, I just asked the analysts how many kills Rin had during map 1, because I'm not quite sure. I believe it was like 14, maybe 16.
Yeah, it's about that.
Something like that. We're currently on 11 as well. So that means that we are less than 5 kills away from reaching...
Someone get a cake.
1,000 kill.
With 1,000 candles.
I better hope so, that there's going to be
cake with 1,000 candles.
I think that's a fire hazard.
That is a fire hazard.
That is a fire hazard.
People at home, don't use 1,000 candles.
Definitely don't try to.
Just use one really big candle. SANDBOX Gaming. To say this is slipping away from you, I think is a fair statement right now. I know that we've sort of built a bit of an idea that it is an attacker-sided map, and these numbers aren't the biggest concern, but it's how Damwon Kia are able to take these rounds. Their positioning and their aggression is still leaving so much to be worked out. Yas is already knocking on the door to see if he can find this early take. There's the spray round, but Envy Taylor isn't moving. Remember, he was there for quite a while last time, and it still didn't really slow them down, so they might be a little bit more direct. Static is on the extension and try and put the swing in. It is down to the drive of that Lion.
U1D has recharged again and could soon be used. Now, DWG Kia currently setting up that pressure yet once again. VIP is attempted to be opened up, and Harper is forced out. Can no longer play inside that area. Angles have been opened, and Rin just watching the entrance does not know Harper, well, just a little bit earlier, snuck out already. If he moves a little bit more to the left, he might be able to actually get the kill there.
Well, they now obviously have still in their pockets a large collection of explosives if they want to try and wing one round to the corner. It's been a bit of a drive for them. When they utilize those frag grenades, it's with the intention of putting some pressure down. It's with the intention of leaning into a push behind it. They have it as a bit of a tip of the spear, and here they're still trying to work things out. SANDBOX have kept a little bit of a distance so far, but again, Coast is quick. And as that hop comes through, yet again, no one's caught by the Lion.
Ball is now, it's a double kill from Rin! That is going to be the 13th on this map so far, and suddenly it has opened up, just lines them up there and picks them apart. As SANDBOX, they see their hopes of this, well, the semi-finals dwindle bit by bit, or rather kill by kill, as Rin just continues to Harper down on them every single time. And as Rin had 11 kills on map 1, that means it's 24 in total. It's just 4 left for the 1,000th kill in their career. And DK are looking to make this a 5-1 scoreline. The default chem is still up, but will surely be dealt with shortly as, well, more Excaros are currently being deployed and Envy Taylor needs to move back up. Has that Nitro, however, could decide to use it for some verticality, but with the 30 seconds that are left, DK is surely to explode into the site very soon. A player in phase and a player in the bar.
I mean, here it comes. The pressure goes against them. It's a trade out. Dakota's going to see if he can stick it. The Echo's gone. The fight happens on the back line. Envy Taylor doesn't have a strict route, but they just took a very important take. However, a repositioning on the plant and Shael trying to find the ping, but they have long since moved. They are around the corner, but the trade is there. You saw the slow creep and the hold on the other side. The quick pick back up, and we find ourselves on a 5-1 half.
I mean, they needed to go for the push there. Like, Jaeger needed to get that kill. It's that simple, because otherwise it would have been a 1v2 post plant. It's not what you want. Tried to stop it with the timer running low, and it was just a second left on the clock there. Fortunately, not able to finish that one off as we once again see that double from Rin. I'm again going to be mentioning it here. 4 more kills, still the 1,000th career kill.
10 seconds left.
Is it going to be this game? Is it going to be, because there's not many rounds left if it continues like this.
That's it. It's not that they're not driving towards it. They are, but they're heading so quick they might
force it to be in the semi-finals.
It might be a semi-finals. They might be setting multiple records.
Damwon Kia stole so many hearts, especially Rin as well during the Mexico Major. People were amazed by how good this team was, and if you look at where they came from earlier this year, I think about a year ago they formed. They went through Challenger League. They qualified for APAC North. They, had some ups and downs during the stages, especially stage 1, but they managed to qualify for Mexico. They got out of groups. They surprised a lot of people, and now they are looking like they could be making it to the semi-finals in the Sweden Major. They were inexperienced, mind you, when they went to Mexico. It was their first event together of the size and prestige that they had. And now looking to better their previous result of making it to the semis. SANDBOX on the attack now. Are they going to go quick straight away? It's something we've seen on Villa. Is that their goal?
Well, their goal is to at least do something, because it's been a long time since they've able to. Their only round was their first, and then it became the Damwon Kia show. More specifically, hey, I'm Rin, and these are the rest. And yes, Yas is still on a 2.0. Oh no, a 4.0 even. I can't do maths. But what I can tell you is that gun game has entirely slipped away from them. And on Coast, that is so often the drive of how the results start to be swayed. Another pulse comes through and the spray goes its Rin's way. 3 more for the 1,000. The pings are coming up across the board. The 2 on the stairs, and Envy Taylor at least finds 1. And there's another trade out, but it's on opposite sides. Nova gets a bit of revenge. They might still have a ping, but it's Yas that creeps around, puts the pressure on from office, and then slips their way. Static is concerned, and Rin is dangerous as they try and find 1 more fight, and it's 1 more kill, 2 more Rin, 1 more Rin! 1 more Rin for your 1,000th kill on the board, 16-4. And it's a moment for Shael to do some quick thinking. A little bit of maths than I've been able to piece together to work out where you think they might be. They have time, but they also have Rin in front of them, and Yas, and Katsang, and it seems the first is his. 1:15, 2 more.
Finds 1, needs 2, gone 6 used on those blue stairs. Gives away a small bit of information. Barbed wire was still up, however. Flashbangs will be used, but not very effective as the ADS is still in place. It's going to be the crossfire coming through. Rin will swing, but it's Yas that gets the kill instead. 999 currently on Rin. And match point for Damwon Kia. 1 more round and they make it to the semi-finals. And they will do what they have dreamed of. And APAC North will be proud. APAC in general will be proud to have them as one of the representatives and one of the 4 teams to go to the semis. They've come so far over the year, from Challenger League to APAC North, to Mexico and stealing many hearts, to now Sweden and many more. And is SANDBOX going to be able to respond? They've already used the tactical timeout. There's nothing the coach can do anymore. It is all within those 5 players' their hands right now. They need to stop this surge of kills that come through every single time. And Rin with that 4 KD currently is definitely wreaking havoc upon SANDBOX.
And Yas has a 5 KD.
How do you stop these two? I mean, we've said it before, Yas is the best player probably in APAC North throughout the online stages, that is. But as soon as we hit playoffs, Rin just pops off. Rin just steals the show, truly. And it makes you forget on how good Yas is, even though Yas has like that 5 KD as well. It's absolutely insane.
That's the thing that makes you pause for thought is obviously with a lot of hype around Rin. Their game has been sensational, not just the kills that they've been amassing, but how they've been doing.
Yeah.
How close they are to their big record of 1,000th. And then Yas is like having just a quiet 5.0.
Just a quiet 10 kills.
Quiet 10-2. And that is when I say it is scary when Rin shows up. It isn't just because just Rin shows up, but because the others will be there too.
They just have a smart, quiet 26 kills together, just 4 on the rest of DK here. As Untitled was about, oh, Rin gets taken out first. Static gets that one. Might just as well become semis if Damwon managed to bring this one back. Drones are being used, however, they have the entry. They need to continue on this, and you instantly saw the E1D that popped as well. They want to build on the pressure, they want to build on the momentum that they might get by taking out such a big fragger. Yes, of course, still left on the board, and this is how it went through. Static, a very important entry.
Now they're seeing if they can put the pressure onto the service door, but Coded is seeing if he can put it back. He's leaning in hyper-aggressively to find a reposition that maybe SANDBOX thinks is already droned and maybe thinks is already clear, but no. That drone catches the flight and the flee of the player who goes back behind the chassis and the shield itself. They have the verticality, and they're trying to open it up and force and shepherd the players into more uncomfortable situations. If they can just get one more pick, they can put themselves into the 5 versus 3 before they try and drive into the delivery of that diffuser. It might be something that gives them a little bit of a semblance of safety before that roam play comes back to bite them.
Nitro's used, explosives going off. 1 minute and 10 left for SANDBOX to get this one going their way. I believe he just spotted the Oryx dashing passes. Yeah, still on that roam, still dangerous as a bit of vertical pressure is being used here by Coated. Using that shotgun, using the SMG truly to hold back SANDBOX as long as he possibly could. There is a Mozzie drone though, it gets pinged out and it gives away the information if they push him from the server's entrance. Woogie looking to go aggressive himself as well. The vertical pressure is truly on here on the side of SANDBOX, and Yas still being upstairs could be the one that completely destroys it.
Well, Nova tries to drive in and see if what they can pull out from the side. There is the canister that stops that little quick plant down on the other side of the wall, and they have the cover, but Coated has the kill. A 4 versus 4, and the diffuser is cold in and amongst the mix of the site. Untitled can't quite find the purchase on the door, and the fight is against them. Katsang, the man who clutched out the first map, brings a bit of this one back. Untitled, a scrappy fight down onto the side of the swing, but it's a 3 versus 3, but there's only 10 seconds. They've got to see if they can drive themselves into the final 2 remaining players. Coated and Katsang, they're still holding back. The diffuser's been picked back up. He's ready for the swing. He gets the double kill, and it is now Damwon Kia who are progressing to the semi-finals. They are the first Korean team to make it to this level. They had stiff competition from a team they know oh so well. The biggest supporters of each other up to this point, and this game was the make or break, but the pressure that these two teams and this region has put on itself over the past year and a half is why they are where they are. And although it's tough, you know after this, it's going to be a whole region behind an absolutely phenomenal team.
They have made history indeed. They make it to semis, and they have the opportunity to make it to the grand finals. It's not there yet, though. They do not know their opponent as of yet. The 999th kills here from Rin. The last one will have to wait until semis before we get to see that one, before history gets written yet once again. But Damwon Kia, what a game it was, and what a duo Yas and Rin are.
I believe the last numbers was about, between the pair of those two, 27 to about 7. It just terrifying. And terrifying is the only way to look at it, and terrifying to whoever is going to face them next, because they're just getting stronger.
Whoever is going to be the winner of FaZe BDS, I believe it was, faces them in the brackets. So they have been watching. They will be trembling. But before anything else, let's throw it back over to the desk to break this one down.
Thank you so very much, M and Hap. Absolutely wonderful cast. And we had an incredible matchup that ended up with Damwon Kia victorious. We are guaranteed APAC North, APAC overall, and Korea in these semifinals for the first time ever for Korea. It's only been one Japanese team that has ever done it for APAC before. Now, Keeney, I'll turn to you first, because you talked about entry kills and taking, the vibe in the map early on. That's what happened on Villa for Damwon Kia. Looks like they ran away with it on Coast.
Yeah, I mean, as I predicted, coming from Villa, Damwon kept up their shtick. They kept getting the entries, and it worked really well. Up until round 7, every single entry kill led into a round win. 100% entry to round win conversion. And on the last round, they break that. Despite SANDBOX getting the entry, they managed to turn it around, and they closed out the map.
That's absolutely incredible return on investment, Jess.
Yeah, that's the best ROI I've heard no damn while. So I'm going to invest in Damwon Kia. I already did in my predictions, so don't worry, I've got my return on investment. Yeah, we'll get to that later, don't worry. We still got the replays on the screen for now. But something I wanted to highlight actually was that I was worried for Damwon Kia. Do I think that people who are looking at this game right now and going, oh, well, E-Man barely did anything, Cap saying barely did anything, I don't think they understand the value of having your entries do so well, and therefore your team focusing on other areas outside of kills. So for me right now, Damwon Kia, that's a strength in and of itself, is that the players on the previous map could stand up when they needed to, and they've come onto this map and gone, I don't need to. I just got a drone, I just tell my teammates where to go, and I'm Gucci.
I'm somewhat disappointed by SANDBOX, and I'll go into that later, but Damwon Kia, they're well known for their well thought out strategy of Rin go kill, right? Like, how well did he play in that last matchup? And sometimes you just kind of on a vibe, dare I say, like he was taking those risks and they were just paying off every single time. Unfortunately, he didn't get his 1000th kill, which was a little bit unfortunate, but an absolutely sensational day from him and Yaf and that duo, because we talked about Damwon Kia needing Yaf to show up during stage 3. If you didn't watch stage 3, you might have thought that it was just Rin from Mexico. Both of them are showing up today, and that's going to be critical going into the next game.
And just to say the line for you, Jess.
Yes, please.
Damwon Kia, more like damn son Kia. Look at that, 7-1 smashing on Coastline. SANDBOX completely deleted, and Rin. My God, Keeney.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Rin, if it's Coated, if it's Yas, I mean, it doesn't matter. Damwon always has their showmaker, and this time it was Rin showing up. I mean, look at that rating, over 2. It's absolutely insane. Almost got his 1000th career kill. It's just complete domination.
I feel like it's such a storyline too to have Rin go 999, be 1 kill shy. You're like, the story writes itself, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to tune in to the semi-final to see that smack bang, probably opening kill, let's be damn honest.
Probably.
Because, whoo, Rin's going for it. I'm telling you what, there are impressive players in the world. There are players hot and cold from North America. From Europe, we've got Shaiko. And in APAC North, we have Rin. Keep your eyes on him because he is an absolute force.
Moving through to SANDBOX though,
yes,
they went with a plan on Villa. They should have won Villa. Like, in fairness, let's be fair. They had a very good plan. It just didn't work out in the end. And I'm wondering if there's a slight best of threes are about mentality and momentum. And I feel like they just completely lost that going into Coastline. And like I said, when Rin's on the tear, they needed to shut him down.
Yeah. All right, our interview is ready. So how about we have a chat with our victors, Damwon Kia, and on the other side we have Yas. On the victorious, of course, we have Kumachip, of course, our translator to Yas. Hello, how are you doing? Annyeonghaseyo in this case. Let's ask you a few questions. First up, what did you feel like when you saw that Korea plays against Korea in the quarterfinals? It's the first time ever this has happened. All right. So we're trying to get all of the info back to him. So it's relayed and actually translated through. So everything could be understood. But Fresh, you were talking about the performance here of Damwon Kia. How do you think they could just keep that pressure constantly on their opponents at Coastline? Because it doesn't compare to Villa.
They were finding entries though, and that was the key point, is that they were finding entries, and Coastline as a map compared to Villa is much more condensed. So when you find the entries, you create the space for your attacks to actually work. Rim was getting these entries, but he wasn't just getting one, he was getting two, he was getting three, and that's what created so much space for the kind of the back room of the team to go and do the actual attacks, get the plant down.
And my friends, I'm sorry to surprise you.
Uh-oh.
The MVP of this matchup is Rin.
I'm shocked.
Robbed.
What?
Nah, robbed.
I can't believe
We're
it.
gonna think of a player who got robbed for Rin.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
That's had like a 5 KD in the last map and
That's
was still
true.
outshone.
I am outraged. Yes, should be the MVP. I'm sure everyone out there else is outraged as well. So, I won't rest after this.
Yeah, let's put up on the screen. MVP is Rin. And just in case you didn't hear what Em was saying, 999 career kills, one away from 1,000.
Are you excited that 1,000th career kill might be a little one tap onto Shaiko?
Rin v Shaiko, let's go. No, there's still FaZe.
There's still FaZe.
You went for FaZe.
we did go-
we did.
We did. I think that one thing on the MVP card that we should probably highlight here as being one of the critical statistics. I have never seen a pro player, and this spans over multiple maps, so do understand the sample, the data size we're going here, with over a 50% consistent head rate. That is 67, 61 in the end? That is abnormal. That is abnormal headshot percentage for a player. That is crosshair awareness times 100.
And Kini, he's rocking the Zofia most of the time on the attacking side. LMG. We've seen that meta shift away from the 7.62 to the Unicorn in this case.
To the Unicorn,
I call
is
it
that
the
its
Unicorn.
name?
LMGE, yes.
I mean, the LMG was always kind of a spicy gun. It's just that the M762 was spicier. No, but I mean, it doesn't matter. You can put Rin on anything. I think he'll gun out and regardless. But yeah, the LMG serves him really, really well. It's amazing to see someone that's that consistent at getting those frags, and even the people trying to refrag him, he doesn't care. He smacks them as well.
Do you remember that kill? You and I were sitting in the green room, and we're sitting there, and Rin is looking down from like luggage blacktop over towards kitchen hallway, and there's a player that runs, a 3-speed player that runs past down the hallway, and Rin just flicks like a god across the head, and this is the headshot percentage we were talking about. That was unreal.
And it's not the first time he does that too. I mean, we've seen throughout groups, throughout these games, Rin just doesn't miss.
And that's habitual, right? They practice that. He knows as soon as he's get a kill, the enemy team are going to try and refrag him, so he just flicks the angle that makes the most sense every single time. And the LMG enables that because he can just flick angle after angle after angle, and as we saw, it comes up with those nice showpiece multi-kills.
Oh, God.
You know what? How about we update that bracket? Now, victor of this game, it is simple as that. Damwon Kia victorious against SANDBOX Gaming. It guarantees us a Korean team in the semifinals. It's the first time ever a Korean team has made it this far. Last time, who set the record, was Damwon Kia themselves at the Mexico Major, and they already break it. They went through Villa, a tough map one, and smashed through their Korean opponents. Also, SANDBOX Gaming are out. They're going home, and Damwon Kia await the winners of FaZe Clan versus Team BDS, our third match scheduled for today. A lot of action that is said to go. We're still waiting for NIP Space Station. That is our final matchup of the day. But before that, we have to start focusing on T1 versus Rogue. But expectations, I think, have already been met, and we're still on game one. So, friends, how about we take a quick break, and when we come back, it'll be time for match 2, our second best of 3 of the day, out of 4 in total. How about that for action-packed Friday morning? We got Team 1, we got Rogue. We'll see you in a bit.